Unfiltered chat, which is also our non-binary edition. As you can see, we have Pikachu, myself, Morgan, Gemma, B. Today is non-binary day, hence the NBs in the house. So let's start off by introducing ourselves. I will go last. Who wants to jump first?
I can jump first because I'm already here.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Morgan. Our pronouns are they, them, and she, her interchangeably. You can find me on the socials at Serena Bezos. I just realized my hair looks like hot garbage, but I'm here. Hey.
We come in all shapes and sizes.
Yep, hair, and on.
Oh, you're wonderful. Well, then, my name is B. Zelda. My pronouns are they, them. I'm a member of the Broadswords. Currently, we are an all-women, non-binary D&D podcast. I stream on Twitch. I'm a GM for Magpie Curated Play Program, so if you ever want to hang out and sit at a table with me, I like to run feminist horrors. It's my genre, Bluebeard's Bride. Yeah, I think that's my
So
thing.
good.
It's so good.
I love her, like, it's so good. So good. And, hello, I'm Gemma, but I go by usually Kupo Knight around the internets. My pronouns are they, them. And, well, I don't really have much, gaming stuff right now, but I do stream on Twitch under my handle, Kupo_Knight. Yeah. Yeah.
And oh yeah, we should probably do a Twitter blast.
I was just getting ready for that.
Which is usually either me or Jess. And I will
Jess has
go.
turned into a Pikachu, so
Yes.
So we'll let them
Transform.
do what they need to do.
We'll wait for them to evolve, yeah.
Evolve?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like the evolution has begun.
And now it's
I just noticed Stitch is there. Oh my god, I love Stitch. Stitch is my
Oh, yeah,
favorite.
the
Toss them in the
Stitch.
intro.
Aw.
Yes.
My webcam, I'm flipped my monitors, and now my webcam's on my ring light. It's all very precarious. Give me a second. I'm
All
here,
right.
but not here.
All right, if y'all want to continue chatting while I send out the tweet.
Yes, I'll say hi to the people in chat. Hi,
Send out
Villa Vincio, hello. And oh no, that's not Angela. I saw Phoenix and I was like, oh, it's Angela. I was like, oh, that's not Angela. That's
it's another
that's
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another Phoenix. Hello.
How was everybody's day today? What'd y'all do? Morgan didn't get enough
Morgan
sleep.
is just yawning.
That's clear enough.
No, so my brain's still waking me up still before my alarm. So I still get up like 20 minutes before my alarm every day now. And that's my life. But worked out in 100+ degree weather, because Texas. I did some Animal Crossing and I'm about to go record for a podcast in a bit, so that's I'm only here for a little while.
Nice.
What about y'all?
Fun times. I worked.
Oh.
All right, tweet sent.
Not incredibly
You did it. You did the thing.
Yeah.
You did the tweets.
Yeah. So, what did I just walk into?
Oh, we were just chatting about like what everybody do today.
Ah.
Gemma had the most exciting with they worked. Honestly, you gotta survive though. I get it.
Yeah. But it doesn't help that, no air conditioning in like LA in a second floor apartment. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm working, boss.
Excuse me. What is
Sounds
this?
rough.
What?
What's the no AC? I don't.
Sounds illegal.
Yeah, there's no AC.
I've never lived or really been in a place that did not have AC.
Same.
before, so it's just
Same.
Apparently there are some old ass apartment complexes in
Oh,
LA.
no.
So like they don't have
Yeah.
the windows that you can like fit the box ACs.
I guess I'd have to order it. But I was looking at the ones that are just like in the corner of the room
Yeah.
or something, because
Oh, I just realized that's a Goopo. Because for a second I was like, what? There's a lollipop in front of.
Googles.
Oh, but why does it have X eyes?
I think it's based off of if anyone has watched FF10 or played FF10, it's based on the character Lulu's Moogle, and it's a doll that he carries. But yeah, the X's, it's like, you're not dead. You're not dead.
No, I was like, for a second, I was...
You're fine.
Have to live forever.
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 Yeah, Miriam, how'd you spend today?
I woke up in the afternoon, did a bunch of stuff. Then I just streamed Cat Quest 2 on Prison Pals, and now I'm here. Hopefully today is the day we both Prison Pals and Huetopia get affiliate eligible.
Yeah.
Come on, affiliate.
I like
Yeah.
that. Gotta get some emotes.
Mm-hmm.
Tis where
Yes,
it's at.
the true reason for getting affiliate emote.
That was the only
Emotes.
The only-
reason.
Do y'all have ideas for emotes yet, or?
Choo-choo, motherfucker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Choo-choo motherfucker,
I made one.
definitely.
Yes.
I don't know if you were there for the last Unfiltered B, but we were
Oh.
talking about all sorts of things that definitely puts us in the mature status. Which, by the way, I should probably update the stream with that warning, just to get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. There you go.
So while you're doing that, basically, we also now have a line for Unfiltered for Andrew Lloyd Webber. Is that right, his name?
Andrew Lloyd Webber is a line because it turned up to be a line in our Kahania Lines and Veils. So then it got brought up in that Unfiltered chat, which then led to Starlight Express and Horny Trains and the Choo Choo Motherfucker.
Gotcha.
Because apparently there's a musical about like horny trains or something.
I thought it was...
I don't know how
Disco-
you all did it. I don't know because I was like lurking as a viewer, and I heard Avatar: The Last Airbender is an anime, and I was like, hold, I need to like hop in on this chat. So in the time that I closed down the stream and popped into the actual conversation, I missed Horny Trains, and I was like,
I think
I think it was before that.
I said that Avatar was an anime, but I know it's not an anime. It's a Western style and anime thing, and it's not a anime. But it was the first exposure to those sort of that style as a whole.
fair.
Although Fairy Tail was actually my first anime.
Oh, really?
Do-do-do.
So
I
Code
love
Switch
all the
said,
songs from Fairy Tail.
Andrew Lloyd Webber's Starlight Express is the musical about horny trains.
Yes.
Yes.
Gotcha.
That one.
I thought it was rollerblades and disco, but apparently that's just a euphemism for horny trains.
So many questions that I
I'm
don't
so
want to
lost
answer.
right now. I'm so lost right now.
All right, let's not rehash the previous episode. And what might be a good question if we feel comfortable answering it is what the words are coming I'm having a word salad moment, but sort of like when did you first feel non-binary, I guess, but that sounds weird as a question. Or
guess
When did you start
recognize it?
smashing the gender binary?
yes, that's more metal.
What was the first inkling that you wanted to smash the gender non-binary?
You gotta smash.
Yes, smash it. Smash it like a bag.
All right, I'm gonna answer this and I'm gonna go because
Okay,
my podcast
yes.
decided to come up.
All right.
Actually, I really don't know. As I was growing up, I was always like one of those tomboy children. I hated wearing dresses, didn't like the color pink. Played a lot of sports, did martial arts. Would fight the boys on the schoolyard because I wouldn't put up with the bullshit. But I think as I got older, and then just, I don't know, I really don't know, when I was like, oh, hey, maybe I'm gender nonconforming, maybe I'm non-binary. I think that actually happened with the last few years for me, because I've always been like, oh, whatever, I don't fit the norms. And then I was like, oh, screw the gender binary and the gender roles, and like I stopped shaving my legs, for example. I was like, oh, fuck you, and I stopped wearing a bra. So, but I wear like bralettes and stuff, bralettes and like bandoliers. But no, that's not right.
No, I think they're called they're
I think bandoliers are like the ones over the shoulders that hold like
Yeah.
all the bullets.
I think they're
Brassieres? Or are
they're
those like a fancy bras? I don't know.
yeah, they're bandelettes or something. I don't know.
Anyhow,
Bandeau, yes, bandeau. Thank you.
I don't wear
Raid!
Raid!
Oh, hello.
Ah.
Hello, friends.
Thank you so much for joining.
Oh my god, I've never seen the raid symbol for Huetopia. That's so good.
Oh, I did all of that like I think yesterday, last
Oh my
night.
God,
That was my
I am-
3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. thing.
That is
I
so
didn't
good,
see it.
Miriam.
I didn't see it. Oh man, I missed it.
Someone has to raid again.
Someone has to
Maybe-
follow.
This is great.
Someone
Yeah.
someone has to follow or
Owner here, just go away, come back. Let me see.
Yeah, can you do it again?
Just do it again.
Thank you.
But
well, I could do a test. I can do
oh,
that.
yeah,
I have the
Okay,
power.
I'm looking. I'm looking.
All
Yes.
right.
Have the
I'm
power.
gonna
The screen.
I'm gonna do that. Well, so
Welcome,
continue talking
raiders.
while I do that.
Oh yeah, so yeah, it's the last few years, and then like I don't know, just I was like maybe I'm just gender non-conforming, and so like I was like yeah, and then I was like oh, but I enjoy being called they them, and just like it fits me better, and then like I was like I don't maybe, and so I'm still like that sort of person that's still sort of like clinging to the side of the pool because I'm afraid of the deep end in a sense, like I'm in it, I'm okay with the water. I just need to let go, and I think that's where I am, and just I'm comfortable for it for the time being, because like Tims can be Thims too, so like
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna send the test now. Ready?
Okay,
Nope.
eyeballs,
Right.
eyeballs on the thing.
I don't think the test shows up live. That's
I
why.
don't
Oh.
think so.
Oh, that's right.
I don't
Don't
Oh, no, there
worry.
it is. There. Oh, nice.
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 see.
Nice. There it is.
See?
Nice.
Isn't it good? It's so good.
All right,
Yeah. Okay. So
Spin is legit.
The spin, yeah. I like it a lot.
we the spin doctors. Yeah. So.
Alright, this was nice. Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
We got what we came here
Good?
for.
Good.
No, don't go,
Don't bring it in.
friends.
No, bro, I do have to go though because I gotta
Yeah.
record a podcast. But I just
All
wanna say
right.
hi and hang
Bye.
out for a little bit.
Thank
Bye,
you, Bella. We
friend.
love you.
We love
Love
you.
y'all. Bye, nerds in the chat.
Bye. So, I'm gonna do some rearranging while. So someone keep talking while I change stuff.
Yeah, okay. I guess my experiences were a little different. So to kind of preface me, I went through foster care, but foster care in the 90s was so fucking weird. So basically I just lived with a bunch of random families, and they were all white. So I had a lot of barriers where they already didn't know necessarily how to take care of very certain needs with me. So up until I was 13, I had hair that was about an inch long. So that really fed into my desire to be a tomboy, to do all the things that boys did, to play. I didn't play sports, but hell, did I ever play Pokemon?
Heck yeah.
So, you had your vices. I had friends of, varying genders, so there was never like a pushback on feminine things for me per se, but it was very much the idea that honestly, until I developed, everybody considered me a boy anyways, because I never had any opportunity. The people I lived with, you'd get a lot of hand-me-downs, and if they let you decide what to wear, it would be like, yes, these jeans that are 4 sizes too big, and that shirt that has a wolf howling at the moon, that's what 8-year-old me is gonna rock. So I did, and I had been gendered as male by strangers for a large portion of my childhood, and then I developed, and it was hell, because I had to try and figure out how to navigate that way, and it never felt right navigating those waters. But I didn't know there was any other option, so you just kind of like pushed through. And then probably in the past couple of years is when it became apparent that I have other choices, choices that make me feel actually validated and comfortable. And that was when I started to explore them. It was actually dipping my toes into the tabletop realm that opened up a lot of doors and forced me to explore more than just my gender class in university.
That's
Yeah.
so legit. We're proud of you and excited for you to
Yes.
be here.
Yeah.
Thank
you
you.
for sharing that your
Yeah.
experience. I was about to say story. I'm like, no, that's an experience. Like, what the heck?
Yeah. I can go next.
Mhm.
So, I grew up very much like femme and very, or at least uh, expected to be femme, and I was very much the person like that liked bright rainbow colors, wanted red shiny shoes,
You did a
wanted.
fashion magazine? Okay, you made your own fashion magazine
Oh
with your
yeah,
friends.
yes.
I'm never gonna forget that.
Oh yeah, I still have. B and I had a conversation a long time ago, and I showed them my. I have it right there on my shelf, like pictures of my fashion book that I created from like a notebook. I'll bring it out for show and tell later if people are interested.
So
But
good. Yes, I want to
Drawings.
see it. I must.
Like kid drawings of like rainbow dresses, like
That's so
feathers, and oh, it was
cute.
I
so
wanted
cute.
the fluffy wedding cake dresses. Like some of my favorite dresses were the big poofy ones. And hey Anino. Um and yeah, just I grew up that way, but my body and certain activities and things I like doing didn't relate to that either. And I always had this weird disconnect of always feeling like I was a failure as a woman or a girl. I was never feminine enough, even though I liked feminine things. And I have conditions that give me excess body hair, which is still probably one of my biggest hangups, even being non binary. And it's like it's one of those things where to be what is considered typically feminine, I'd have to spend so many resources, time, spoons, and everything to conform to it. And I always felt bad because I was like, I'm not good at being a woman. I don't want to be a man, but I'm not good at being a woman. And then through, like B, through TTRPG spaces and meeting people, when I heard non binary was a thing, I was like, wait, that's an option? I can do that? Like, I was actually really mad at the world in general. It's like,
Me
why didn't someone
too.
tell me? Why didn't someone tell me I could be this like 10 years ago or 20 years ago? I would have immediately jumped ship and be like, heck yeah, I'm non binary. So I've only sort of identified as being non binary maybe 4-ish years, something like that. And then as I learn more and I see people with various identities, I'm suddenly like, oh, wait, I'm that too, and I'm that too, and I'm that too, and I'm that too. And it's just this floodgates. And I'm still learning that there are identities that fit me better than others, which is why I think I am non-binary. I also identify as gender fluid. And just like there's this weird thing with especially the Kickstarters and especially with like queer series pins and stuff like that. By the time it actually reaches my house, I've already found another identity or I identify better with another identity, and I have this like, great. I don't really identify with the she of they she anymore, but okay, I'll just put this here.
Makes for great gifts for other folks now.
Yes. So that's me.
Huh. It's kind of hard to talk about this because not many people ask. You know, it's only other non-binaries who ask like, so I don't know if it's out of like they're too shy or whatever, but yeah, it's not really a question I get asked, so it's hard to really kind of put into words how I became or however we word it. But
Yeah, I don't even know what the correct question to ask is for something like that, which is why
how do you
every
envy? How do you envy? Like I'm just
like even like I definitely didn't prepare for this, so there was that, but also it becomes this weird thing of like um like when did you know you were gay somehow is like a little more accepted and how or maybe not. Like I've seen it in a lot of interviews where it's like when did you know you were
Yeah.
gay?
I think those questions can be answered with, I saw this woman and like, god dang, she was gorgeous. And when it becomes like those are often the answers you get. It's kind of this feeling, but like identifying with being non-binary, it wasn't just one moment where it was like, yeah, it was a culmination before it was, and like I ignored it for so long because it was like, no, that can't be right. No. Like I don't know what that is, but it's out of me. It's not me, but like.
Well, I'm also wondering if like just the discussion of sexuality is a bit more I guess accessible or more acceptable to talk about because well, I live in America, they love the sex. Like for like it blows,
Despite the
yeah, it blows people's minds if you're ace because they're like, no, you don't like sex. What? So like the idea of gender being on a spectrum, let alone a binary, it's like I feel that it's very new to at the very least Western theories. So I think that's why people are like a little
yeah,
like
and
on
the
it.
other thing that I think was a bigger culture shock for me was this gender rigidity in North America, which is not there where I was, and in fact, it's become more rigid as Asia starts emulating North America for good or for worse, sort of a thing, where now, like, you could walk in India or in Dubai or wherever where men, incredibly masculine men, cis het men, you would never imagine whatever, they wear like bright pinks, bright green, like these beautiful, vibrant colors, and no one thinks them any less manly for it, or, you know, like and on top of that, because I was in a gender segregated school, which is very common in very some in Orthodox Muslim countries sometimes, I had, because I was on the taller end, I had to do all the boy parts, so I kind of did drag from like age 7, and no one thought it was that, or nobody batted an eyelid. Hey, thanks for the follow. um Um, and I did that from like age 7 to like 25, 26 until I moved here. Like any programs, anything where it was like, okay, we need a dude and there's no dudes here. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll go put my clothes on. Give me a second. So, but coming here, apparently it's really weird if I dress up in dude clothes. Sorry, I think I talked over you, Gemma, because you were about to chat about yourself.
Oh no, it's fine. Like I'm glad we kind of segued to where
Okay.
we at. But I guess similar to I guess everyone else, like it kind of started when I was a kid. Like I couldn't really relate to any of my like my female identifying cousins. Like I had that uncle that would give me a Barbie every Christmas, even though I told him flat out I did not want it. I never wanted it, and yet there it was. I recognized the shape of the box every goddamn time. And then oddly enough, it was kind of when I maybe junior high schoolish, where I was getting into anime, um, and that is where I started seeing a lot of like gender queer type characters. And that was when I was just like, huh, that's really cool. And I really started to like resonate with the women characters who were very masculine or dressed that way or acted that way. I think when people do ask like anything non-binary, I always go to Revolutionary Girl Uthana as like my little like kind of like this was kind of like my maybe something's different with me kind of thing. But like Uthana just really resonated with me, and I didn't really know why. I just thought she was super cool, and maybe I had a crush on her. I don't know, but and then it kind of just went whatever. I lived my life, and then forward back in 2014, 15. Yeah, before I moved to Los Angeles, I I started hanging out with, or I was working and living in the Bay Area and working in San Francisco, and a lot of the friends that I made were queer, and it just felt right. And then that's when I was introduced to the term non-binary, and I was like, huh. My friend at the time, she kind of gave me like the gist of it, but then I kind of started like researching on what it was or what it is. And when I read the definition, that's when I was like, that's it. That's me. And then of course I started reading into more like demi girl and demi boy, and I'm like, oh yeah, demi girl, that clicks too. So, but it did take a while. It was still very a little like, this is kind of mine. I don't really want to say anything yet, but like maybe months after I started doing that, like I kind of like came out to my friends, and I was just like, hey, I'm non-binary and my pronouns are they them, and they were just so supportive and happy for me. And yeah, and that was that, I guess.
That's a good story.
That's really
Yeah.
wonderful.
Oh.
I relate incredibly. Okay, the moment where you read the definition of non-binary and was like, shit, that's me. Gender studies in university, I had that exact moment, but I remember being angry because like that can't be me, even though it felt 100% like it was me. And I had messaged a couple of my friends saying like, what do you think? Or like sent them the definition, like, does this fit me? Like, I need some validation right now. And I remember that being the very clear moment. It was a group chat I had sent it to, and it had been very clear that these were the friends that were going to support me, and here were the ones that wouldn't. And I'm still now friends with the ones that did support me, but reading that in a textbook, being like, fucking shit, why? I should have known.
Yeah.
Legit.
How about you, Jess?
Me. Okay, so being a 90s kid, definitely got marked as a tomboy very early on, which as a kid, I had a weird sense of hyper-logical thinking, so it was very perplexing that I was like, I'm a girl, why are you calling me a boy? Like, tomboy never made sense to me, so I was like, whatever. I had a weird relationship. Like, my mom would try to buy the cheapest clothes and was very practical, so sometimes the cheapest clothes were boy clothes, and I hated it because I wanted to fit in. But then there was a point where I was like 10 or 11 where she bought me some cargo pants, and you know, the kind in the early 2000s that zipped off to become cargo shorts.
Oh my god, I had those.
Yeah. So like jokingly we can say, you know, you might be non-binary if but yeah, I freaking loved those pants a lot, mostly because pockets, and they were just like so loose and I could do whatever I wanted in them. I played a lot of sports. I was always like on the boys team. Flag football was my jam. Obviously I did martial arts. And then like flash forward to high school when Tumblr existed, shout out to 2008. for growing up in Vegas, we didn't have a lot of queer people in high school that were out. So it was really an interesting, like, well, I know being gay or lesbian exists, but it's not me, obviously, and it's okay if you are, but and I had like that queer waffling for a couple years. But on Tumblr there was a big infographic, and I think it's called the like identity gingerbread person. So like they go for the 3 different scales of like your sexual identity, your gender identity, and your physical bits or whatever. And at the same moment there, I was like, man, that makes sense. That totally is like everything should be a spectrum. There should be something you identify with and feel right with. And it didn't really hit me that I'm like, you could be non-binary. Because I think at the time on Tumblr, it was a lot of proto-pronouns. So like Zir was the pronoun for non-binary people at the time. And I didn't quite get it. So only in the past few years when people are like, I use they, them singularly. And I'm like, oh my God.
Oh my.
And honestly, yeah, I was definitely hopping into the TTRPG community and seeing how queer and accepting it was, and then seeing some really brilliant people like, I don't know, Orion and Bianca Alda, and I'm like, wow, pause. I'm having a feeling here where these people just use they, them pronouns, and they're just like, fuck your binary, fuck whatever it means to be non-binary, and the presentation doesn't fucking matter. What matters is how I feel and what I am and what I identify as. And I'm like, yes, that makes sense.
It really warms my heart. If I can relate a story to like how you had that feeling, Miriam was actually the first non-binary person that I have met. No, I think they were the first that had vocalized that. I had popped in, they were doing a panel, and for the life of me, I wasn't super into the panel. But I remember being really into like whatever Miriam was talking about, because I'm like, they seem really, really cool. And then lo and behold, we were supposed to do a panel together, but the convention was a shit show.
Oh,
so
it was. I have no problem. I'm not going to name him, but I have no problem throwing them through the ringer.
The drag.
Like, literally no announcements of anything, so because literally the only people who were there at the panel were the panelists and Katie. One Katie. One Katie. We decided to say fuck it, we're gonna do something else, and we played werewolf with chits.
But just by Miriam being themselves, and they had kind of passively, just as an aside, they had expressed their pronouns, and then they just were. And again, that was my first opportunity where it was like, I can do that? I can do that. I can definitely do that. Like, and you see, because you are you, and you're wonderful, and like, that was the energy that I wanted to channel myself. So it's taken a couple of years.
That's why people push so hard for queer representation in media.
Yes.
Yeah, that is what B said just now. That's why it matters to see yourself in media. Why see yourself in whatever you want, like whatever it is. If you watch movies, TV, read comics.
And hopefully more than villains.
Yes, please. And not like you're coded or whatever.
Because, like, Double Trouble's amazing, but also not necessarily a protagonist, and I'm just gonna leave it at that without giving any more spoilers.
Okay, yeah, we can't get into it without spoilers.
Just saying, Double Trouble's not a protagonist, so it's like, it's great. There's the first non-binary representation I've seen in a animated series, but also it would be nice if they were protagonists, at least.
Isn't this how it starts, though? It's always poor representation, because they're always the villain.
Right.
And it's almost a caricature of, but then they get better.
Especially the tricksters. Like, especially tricksters. Like, it's just like, no, we're not trying to trick anyone. We're saying who we are. It's your problem if you think we're trying to trick you.
underlining. Yeah, that's an angle I had not considered.
Ooh, did not
Ugh.
consider it. Oh, my mind is
Right?
blown.
Heck.
Heck.
I should have known when all of my favorite animes are either strong, buff women or really soft boys trying to learn about their feelings.
My two favorite genres are right
That-
there.
That sums up my anime list.
Yeah.
And then there's always, a certain food one.
I will not get into that with you.
Let's not break that up.
Another day, another conversation. We'll talk about food wars.
It's something we should be cognizant of since this was very last minute and it's just kind of like who is here. We're all AFAB, like assigned female at birth experiences, so it's important to note that there are the other side of the experiences
Yes, there are.
just as valid, and
Exactly.
to an extent you have even harsher expectations of like proving your non-binariness to people, and that is a problem as well.
I said in a tweet a while back that me starting to actually tackle in a healthy way my body issues, especially hair issues. I have to give a lot of credit to those who are AMAB and those who are more masculine and all of those things, and just seeing them be amazing.
Do
Like,
y'all?
no, go ahead.
I have a favorite AMAB, non-binary, Alok. I can't remember their last name, but they are beautiful and they rock their body hair like it is gold. Do I have privileges to add a link? Can you I permit
I
my
think-
name?
Mario, keep talking, and
Okay.
then I will give
Yes.
you them.
Yes.
Okay, so
Also covered.
Miriam, go ahead.
Yes,
and
and I actually credit like seeing Simon and hanging out with Simon as an amazing influence for me, and it's just like seeing him on streams, as well as having him in my games and playing in his games has just been so good. And it's unfortunate Simon's not available today. And Russ also has been an influence for me. And Russ may pop in during this, but may not. We spoke, so yeah, that's the thing. That's the other thing. This was very last minute, and if we had more time to plan, and maybe we'll do another one down the road that's properly planned and has good has a better representation of all the spectrums within non-binary. That would be awesome. Hey, thank you, Kennick Kish, for following.
Oh, this Instagram account. Yeah.
I will
They
definitely
are
follow this
styling.
afterwards.
And like a lot of their
That hair, though.
right?
Well, I mean,
Beautiful.
yeah, beautiful, but like, I just love how they styled their hair in like the most recent picture. Oh, so good.
Like they do a lot of work to kind of try and normalize body hair and show that it's pretty. Like we have been socialized to resent it to its core, and it's so rough. I mean, I don't know where my own body hair came from. I got to meet my my biological parents one time, and like none of them had a lot of body hair, and then me as a child.
I
a
had
lot
been
of it.
waxing since I was 12. Like,
13, yeah.
yeah, and it had been nonstop until almost 2 or 3 years ago, where I literally could not sit through a waxing session, and it was not the beautician's fault or anything of that sort. It was, I think, about a couple of months after I was openly non-binary, and it was just before going to Gen Con. And going to a big con like that, exposed to thousands of people who may not be as kind, I wanted to make things easier and safer for myself. So I was like, I gotta take all that especially my facial hair off. And while I'm used to the sort of like the pain or the sting of it, so that wasn't the thing that made me cry. It was just this feeling of absolute hypocrisy of like, I'm supposed to be proud of me and my hair and everything, and non-binary should mean that I should be okay with this. Why am I not okay with this, and why am I being such a coward? And I just started bawling in the middle of the session, and I finished it. I still finished it because I was like, I didn't want to go half-assed with half a stash. But I had promised myself, no matter what, this is the last time I'm doing it. I'm not going to do it again. And I haven't. But I still have those big feels before any gone, because it's just like really like, oh gosh, I don't want people to comment unkindly about me and my appearance. And there are days where it feels really hard for me to get on camera and look like this.
Thank you for sharing. I mean, I can say you've. I can't not take inspiration from you. You know, a whole part of that process of kind of finding yourself as somebody who's non-binary is you kind of go through the motions of you stop shaving your legs, you stop shaving your arms. I tried not waxing my face. And I mean, I can just preface it that I think you're a lot stronger than myself, and I'm hoping that I can get to a point where I can at least dig my toes into where it starts to feel comfortable, because I don't think there's any such thing as absolute acceptance on this, unfortunately, but to start to work towards that would be really, really wonderful. So thank you for being you. Absolutely.
It really is a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you don't clean up, then
You look
you're
unprofessional.
Right. And then if you do clean up, you're like, well, now you're just femme and you just want attention. Your identity is real. Like, what are you doing here? So it's hard.
This can kind of lead into the topic of makeup. If anybody would like to share, you know, related makeup stories, related to makeup experiences, what that's been like, those kind of challenges.
I've only recently got back into doing makeup, but I only do it because sometimes I feel like it's one of those, I don't do makeup for a natural everyday look. I do extreme, like almost like kind of stage makeup, like very bright colors, you know, like the Instagrammable stuff, because for years I hated putting makeup on, but I'd put it on because it was expected, and then for almost 15 years never touched makeup except at weddings because it was expected of me. And only recently, like in the past year, have I, especially again, like influences from non-binary people who play with makeup and have facial body hair and rock that facial body hair and everything, have I felt like, okay, even though this makeup here will very much, like bright red lipstick will highlight this area, which means my mustache will be even more visible, it's okay. You know what? It's fine. And like, I used to put filters, like my previous camera had this beautify filter, which is racist in of itself because it whitens you. But it used to get rid of my facial hair, which I was super happy about. But then again, I got into that feeling, that same feeling I had in that waxing thing of like, I'm being an absolute hypocrite, because how can I say that I love myself and I love this when every time I try to put a like public face, I try to make sure my body hair is not visible. And it's still a balancing act.
It's its own challenge.
Body hair everywhere. Like, regardless of your gender identity, females can have a unibrow. Females can have facial hair. So like, fuck you. Do what you want. And society just needs to, like, we're getting there, right? Hopefully we're just gonna keep on.
Yeah. Society, can you fucking chill on like body hair? Can you just
I used to have the most beautiful unibrow. It's never gonna come back. Like, it's gone for good now.
Yeah,
Mine's like-
plucked into oblivion. Yeah.
yeeted?
Makeup makeup is so that was another part of that tomboy aspect of like I never had a desire to wear makeup throughout middle school and high school um, until so I was quiet. I very much lived the life of like don't speak unless spoken to, don't draw attention to yourself, and had a lot of self-confidence issues despite being in a bunch of leadership and extracurriculars. And it wasn't until senior year that I actually tried doing makeup, and that was just like the basic eyeliner and mascara. And I remember distinctly the very first day I did it, I went to school, all of like the clique femme presenting people were all like, "Oh my god, are you wearing makeup? Are you wearing makeup?" I'm like, no, don't look at me, please. Go away. And then it was kind of presented from the Asian side, like my mom being Korean, she was very adamant of like, you do it not for yourself, but for the presentation that you give to society. Like you do it to be presentable. That's what you need to do.
Damn.
Yeah. So for a while, it just made me feel uncomfy. But then I did learn how to put on a poppin' smoky eye with the eyeshadow. And, you know, I still don't like wearing lipstick unless it's, like Mariam said, more for a character or for something like very like showboaty or theatrical. So
like
I
a
usually
pride
do
look.
yeah. But I am now comfortable that whatever level of makeup I do, it's for myself. It makes me feel nice. So like if I'm at cons, I mean, right now on screen, I did my eyebrows. I plucked a few of them to shape it up and fill them in a little bit, and that's what I like. I like people seeing my expressive eyebrows.
You have very expressive brows.
It is very expressive, I would say.
Good power brows, I'm a fan.
Power brows!
Power brows, yeah.
Power brows!
They have strength.
And I've always admired your eyeliner, Gemma. Like, it's always like it's very subtle, but it's amazing.
It works.
Yeah, I eyeliner is usually my go-to if I ever want to do makeup. But in like junior high, like makeup was not allowed for me at all because my mom was under the impression I'm Filipino, so for my mom it was very much for her like you're too young, you just want to you don't want to be like a whore, like she would say that, and I was just like, okay. So that was something I was kind of like, okay, this is not for me yet. And then even then I felt awkward growing up, and when I started to wear makeup, because I didn't really have that like someone to teach me how to use it, and I was just like, how do people do this? And I think YouTube was just finally starting out, so I was just like, what is this, mascara and bronzers? But now it's like it's definitely along the lines of it's a means of expression. I like for the past couple years I started swing dancing, and it's one of my passions. And so when I like perform or dance, I will rock the makeup, but it's usually like maybe bright colors to kind of like pop out like the outfit I'm wearing. And now it's just another, not mask, but it's just another like weapon I can use to show myself, I guess. It's just another way of expression. I don't sometimes I do like get that, there is that kind of like dysphoric feeling of being like, oh, I should be more feminine, wear makeup to be presentable. But then most of the days I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. Like, so.
Getting to the point where I could not give a fuck took some time. I was fallen upon early high school, some girls decided to befriend me to remake me in their image. Weird fucking experience. So I learned a lot about makeup, feminine presentation, I guess, but like I still wouldn't do it feminine enough. But then it became quite clear that I learned how much more you can acquire if you look a certain way. So weaponizing makeup has been something, like a tool that I have always had in my arsenal. My go-to makeup look is just my eyebrows. I love my eyebrows, so I'll always fill them in. I don't actually have a lot of eyebrows because I have plucked them to infinity because I was incredibly ashamed of them for years, so they're very sparse. So makeup. Today, because I was doing other things, I've got on some foundation, eyeliner, and mascara. But it's still, even this feels like it's too much. I feel like I've got that. I'm towing that line where I'm too feminine. And we've all kind of touched on lipstick.
Kitty.
Kitty.
I hope they love belly rubs. They seem a little.
Cat's face.
They're very chill.
I don't give a fuck.
That is the goal. A cat's level of not giving a fuck.
Yes, that is very much the goal.
To be.
Yeah.
But weaponizing lipstick is something I've absolutely utilized lately, and especially it's become a very performance thing, lipstick. And I've never ever considered that until y'all said that, and I only ever use it when I feel like it's kind of to perform, one way or another. That's weird as shit.
And I love fantasy colors. Like, if I can find fantasy colors of anything, somehow it makes me feel less weird about using makeup when I can do things like blue and purple and black and, like these colors that would not be used to do an everyday, like, never put makeup look, And I think the other, lipsticks is also, the other thing about lipsticks that specifically for me is I have, if it's not very noticeable, different colored lips, and my mom for years would get me to put all sorts of things, bleaches, lime juice, whatever, to get them the same color, and they never got the same color. And there was some sort of a dermatologist, or I'm not sure, dermatologist, whatever, said that basically I had like fungus infection on my lips or something, like things that made me feel horrid. And just like I don't like putting sheer lipsticks. I like putting like opaque lipsticks because it covers up my dual tone. And it's just one of those. I even had people I was dating. I dated some really horrible assholes. One of them was like, "Ew, what's that?" Just like faces right up here.
I have like a shank emote ready.
Yeah.
One of my close friends, she's a queer black woman with like significantly darker skin, and her mom was a trained and licensed beautician. So the hyperpigmentation, like the dual tone of your lips and like the dual tone of your skin, was a huge thing. And even to this day, like she's like, "Well, fuck you, Mom. I'm queer and you're just gonna have to deal with it, and I get to choose my beauty standards." But like it's still a huge insecurity to think about, like, well, I have these big luscious lips, and instead of saying they're awesome and amazing and perfect for whatever makeup she wants to do, it's always conscious of like when she has to present herself on a date or whatever, it's about masking it with opaque pretty lipstick. And I'm like, bruh this sucks.
Yeah, and a couple of people told me this, but I'm still processing it, of like, hey, you know that dual tone means that you don't have to shade it like some people do where they use like 3 different colors of lipstick. You just put it on and it's just like is naturally shaded. And oddly enough, at the time, it didn't hit me that, hey, it's a good thing. It still was like, oh, you're just saying it to make me feel better.
It is a tool in your arsenal.
Yeah.
Utilize it.
Hey! Anala has appeared.
Anala has joined the party.
Hello.
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 Hi there.
I have arrived.
Yeah.
I just finished watching a movie, and then I saw you all were live, and I was like, oh, this thing, awesome!
Well, glad you can
First
make
off, happy
Thank you.
belated birthday.
Oh, thank
Yes.
you. Thank you very
Late
much.
birthday.
I turned 21.
Baby!
New
Baby!
baby.
New baby!
Yeah.
We got a new baby. New baby on
Yep.
I love it.
Ooh, so there's a question I should ask both Nala and B, were you there for the last Unfiltered, Gemma?
I was going in and out of chat, so I don't think I grabbed the whole conversation.
Okay, so usually there's a question that we ask, because this is an after-hours virtual party. Like, imagine this is a big house. So when you arrive, do you bring something, do you bring any food or drink or anything to kind of add to the potluck aspect of this, chill friends party?
You're gonna make me hungry though. What the heck?
Sorry.
So you're asking me?
Whoever wants to jump in.
Do you have an answer?
Well, if I had to, if it was a potluck, I cook this really good pasta that is really, it's easy for me to make because I've done it so many times, but it's a, roasted red pepper and garlic sauce tossed with pasta and olive oil. It's very good. And it has vegetables in it, which I always need more of.
Everyone's, if there's veggies, it's healthy.
Yeah,
I actually really like veggies. I'm coming
And it
around
looks
to
nice.
it. Except asparagus is
Oh.
asparagus.
Yes.
I can't even
Asparagus.
pronounce it right now. I'm so mad at it.
I'm so mad at it.
I could eat it every day, but that's fine.
Oh, I don't like asparagus. It just tastes
I-
weird.
For a potluck, I would bring it's called toron. It's Filipino, but it's kind of basically if you think of a savory egg roll, there's there's things wrapped, but instead of savory, inside it's a plantain with jackfruit, and you fry it. And so
And
it's
then you don't tell
banana
anyone about the jackfruit.
Only
Right, yeah, like
vegetarians,
my
please.
mom who did that, and I don't like jackfruit, so I would
no.
cry when I see the slime of the jackfruit because it's a texture, and I'm like, Mom, no, why? But my dad and I would go to war when my mom would fry some up. We would just go to town, and he would try to beat stay away from the kitchen. We would race for it.
Oh no, Katie's in the chat. We're talking
Yes.
about food.
Yes. You
I
missed
don't
us
have-
talking about a certain con in which you were the only audience member in the room.
Oh, that's the Katie then.
Yes, that's the Katie.
We'll never not mention a horrible convention. It's so
Which
memorable.
convention?
It was
I
the
can't-
worst of convention. I mean, we could. I live in the town. I mean, it's not
See,
like
I
they're a
don't care.
mafia or anything. I
Yeah.
actually don't care. It was SkyCon. It lasted 1 year.
Yeah, there you go.
It's called what?
SkyCon.
Icon.
Sky?
Yeah.
Heard of it.
It was
never
in
heard
my
of it.
hometown, so it was very easy for me. It was the worst of cons, but the best of cons because I met some really awesome people, and I am still very. We're all still friends. I met the Broadswords. I met Asians Represent. All of
wow.
that was because of that con. Yeah.
It's really wonderful.
And Katie was there as well. So, we were talking about the panel in which we said fuck the panel because Katie was the only audience member, and we all played. Played Werewolf. And
That's a
also,
great game.
right after that was supposed to be the Broadswords live show, and again, me and Katie, because I wasn't part of that game, me and Katie were the only audience members.
It was just Broadswords, and I think it was Daniel and Agatha. At the time, that was just two Asians.
That was just
represented.
Asians represents.
Oh yeah, Daniel. Yeah.
Those were good times.
Those were
Simpler
good.
Wow.
times, you know?
Yeah. But coming back to this virtual after-hours party,
Okay, so how many people are in attendance, give or take?
last time there was 8 people. Now there's about 5 or 6. One person left early, just came to say hellos.
Okay, so normally I would bring about 4 liters of wine and 4 liters of pop. That
I'm
might
sorry, what?
be excessive. I don't bring food. I don't cook really. I just like eat and drink.
Are you trying to wait first? Pause. Are you trying to tell me Canadians say pop?
Yeah, we say pop.
Oh wait, that's where. What do you say?
Soda.
Soda.
Animals.
It was called
And the war has begun. This is where the lines are drawn. Here we go.
in the Bai, they call them soft drinks.
Wow, even more like. Would you like a soft drink?
What? When I first moved to the Midwest, that was the hill I lived and died on. I'm like, no,
Really?
no. I've lived
Jess,
all
what do you
over the
call
state.
it?
Soda.
Oh, you say soda too. Okay.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah, I
good.
lived
You're
in
good.
Alabama where everything was Coke, and I'm like, that's wrong too.
That's
Coke
wrong,
is
too.
a type of soda. Like, why
And
is
it-
everything
not
Coke if
the
it's not
soda.
Coke?
Yeah.
Well, unless it's Coke.
Well, then yeah, that's Coca-Cola. Yeah.
I feel like at that point they ask, "Oh, actually, sorry, we don't have Coke. We only have Pepsi."
Yeah. That was the last place I worked at. I had to say that, and I felt really bad.
People get passionate about their types.
Oh,
do.
yeah.
Sorry.
They do.
All right, but B, you said
Oh.
4 liters of
Wine
soda
and
and
pop.
4 liters of wine.
Of soft drinks and hard drinks.
Yes. But I would scale it down to be reasonable for the group. I don't want folks to think I'm an alcoholic.
Is this like, are you gonna share like Victoria's homemade wine of fruity styles?
I would
Ooh.
love to.
Victoria
It's like
makes
a week to brew.
homemade
It's
wine.
so
Yes,
cool.
there's
Yeah,
even
participated
potato
in the
wine. I
making.
learned about potato wine.
They've
Oh
done
my
blueberry
gosh.
wine, rhubarb wine.
Rhubarb.
They've made
Yeah.
some really gross things too. When the pandemic just started, they dropped off like 6 bottles of homemade wine at my house. I was hyped. But one of them was like a tomato wine, but it also had onions. Like it was so gross.
So a Bloody Mary wine or a salsa
Oh, but
wine?
there were so many other vegetables that were included that should not be included regularly. I mean, I still drank the whole thing because I'm no quitter, but it was disgusting.
So someone in chat is saying here in MD we call it crab fizz.
Crab
My
fizz.
reality is just pulling on your toes. No.
Okay. I was just like, what is this show?
People in Baltimore do not say crab fizz. Absolutely not.
What?
Want a crab fizz?
Crab fizz.
Crab fizz.
Say it
Sorry.
fast enough.
God. Oh man.
Oh.
Yeah, that's most of my contribution. I love that y'all make some wonderful foods. I didn't grow up with a lot of cultural, because I went from family to family. Do you prefer Nella or Jay?
Either's fine. I go by both.
Okay. I feel like I might have been introduced to you as Nella.
Yeah. It's really confusing. I'm like a big question mark with what I want to be called right now. So.
Mood. Hey, can we bring that up in a topic because that's something that's very relevant.
Yeah.
Very
Oh
relevant.
yeah,
to
that's a good
me.
topic to talk about.
But really quickly, I was gonna say, oh yes, yeah, I have no culture when it comes to food, unfortunately, because I've been raised by like 5 or 6 different families, and they were all white. So like, I can make a mean, pork chop with white sauce, but like,
Nice.
it's disgusting.
What is this white sauce?
Is it like a
I'm-
roux?
Yeah, basically, but like,
Okay.
you don't
Kind
add
of
much to
creamy?
it.
Kind of creamy?
So
Yeah,
like
yeah,
country
yeah.
Yeah.
gravy sort of a thing.
Basically, but with less salt.
Uh,
I'm Chinese, grew up in a Chinese Hawaiian family, and I can't cook any Chinese food. My dad's obsessed with French cooking, so he's taught me the proper way to scramble eggs and the proper way to boil eggs, all Julia Childs. But, and he also loves Italian cooking, so I know how to do that, but no Chinese cooking. Oh,
I
man.
oddly learned a lot of Indian cooking in the last 10 years.
I think
Because
that's really cool.
the thing is that my mom cooks for sustenance, doesn't cook for like passion. And whatever I've learned was sort of a mixture of self-taught and asking my grandmother what the recipes were and trying to decode them, because a fistful of dal turns out is anywhere between 20 or 30 grams of it. I actually would pick it up, measure it, and do it several times and take the average.
That's stressful.
Yeah, I don't measure anything, especially like garlic. I kind of just chop up as much garlic as I want and put it in because garlic is delicious.
Oh, garlic
Yeah.
is delicious.
And
Garlic.
I eat that raw. I eat garlic raw. It's so
My
good.
spouse, Carl, will,
healthy.
like, loves you already. Just because, yeah, his Caesar salad is amazing, but, like, you're not gonna taste anything except garlic for the next few days.
Oh dang.
Oh wow, garlic is strong.
It's been reduced quite a bit now, but, like, I love it, but the problem is I like tasting food.
Oh, come on. Garlic is the taste.
Yeah.
Garlic is the taste.
The closest I ever got to just eating like garlic on its own was like I would roast it. I would just put it in the oven like and then just like have it bake and then just eat it like popping it into my mouth. I was like, holy shit, this is delicious.
I'm back at a place where I have access, like I'm working again, so we have a deep fryer at the restaurant, and I just like chuck cloves of garlic in the deep fryer from time to time, pick it up in the basket and snack on that. It's so good. It's deep
I've
fried.
never had it fried. I literally just like take
Ooh,
cloves
It's
raw.
so
and eat
good.
'em.
Yeah, no, I can't agree with that one.
Yeah,
You can get fried garlic, I think, like in an Asian grocery store, like
Yeah,
sliced.
my dad eats that. He snacks on it when he does his work.
It's like fried onions, but garlic.
Yeah.
I used to live in the Northern California in the Bay Area, and there's a city like 40 an hour drive on the 101 in Gilroy, and that is where the Garlic Festival happens.
Garlic festival.
Yes, but every
Take me there.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I finally went one year when I came back and lived there in the Bay Area, and if you love garlic, that is the shit. And then there's garlic ice cream.
Oh no.
What?
Yeah, there is garlic ice cream.
I don't know how I feel about that. Like savory ice
I
cream.
tried, and it's actually good.
Yes.
Do you have it
Oh.
as like a sweet or as a savory?
Savory.
Like,
Yeah, well, it's ice cream, but then you have that tint of the like. It's
Garlic.
very subtle. It's not like you're just licking this ice of like garlic. No.
It's
That's what I
frozen
imagined.
garlic.
Yeah, if you're just eating frozen garlic. No, it's like you're eating ice cream, so there's sweetness, but then there's that tang of garlic, and you're just like, what are like galaxy brain? So
You just put garlic in a smoothie and then you drink it.
What else
Thoughts?
is in the smoothie? I'm picturing just garlic and water.
Just garlic.
Ah!
just garlic.
I think for Jay, they're like, yes.
So basically, you're having garlic. You're just drinking the garlic sauce. Because
It's garlic juice. Ew.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that.
Take it back.
And
No, it's like those people who make like kale smoothies, but then you spice it up and put garlic in it.
oh, okay, yeah, that's.
Ooh. You have
It's like a savory smoothie.
kale smoothie. Kale and smoothies and me.
I don't
that-
understand. I don't like kale. I don't know why I
love
brought that
kale
up.
and
I
garlic
like
right
kale.
now.
I make
I
it.
acknowledge that it's good for you, but like,
Yeah, same.
when you blend it, it's just like frothy, and I'm like, ugh.
I can't have leafy greens anymore because my body hates North America as a whole. Like, it seems to be that I can't have a certain type of cheese. I can't have leafy greens because I can only eat leafy greens that can essentially be cooked. So kale being one of them, and it's sturdy enough to stand a lot of washing and extra stuff. That's my leaf of choice for salads. So we've been having kale salad, kale Caesar recently, which has been pretty good.
I love kale salads.
Water.
yeah,
Pickled
hydrate.
garlic.
Good.
Actually, pickled any vegetable, but that might be the Korean in me.
I pickle a lot of things just because it's tastier that way.
I don't like pickles. I feel like that's kind of weird, but I don't know.
Do you like acids?
I feel like
Do I like acid?
acids like
Yeah.
vinegars. Do you just regularly consume acid? Hydraulic?
Yeah, I do acid on the weekends.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Character.
I have a really good Valley Girl voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. That's so good. But
Yeah.
I also like Indian pickles, like achar. Achar is so good. But you kind of like you only have like a teaspoon at a time because it's really spungent. Mango's my favorite.
Mango is so good.
Mango's so good.
If you ever go to Hawaii, they have the best mangoes there. My grandma has a mango tree in her backyard, and she'll make dried mango and send it to us, and it's the best. It's so good.
This Daisy disagrees.
Ooh.
This Daisy disagrees because Alfonso mangoes, like
Wait. What kind of mangoes?
Alfonso, that's
Alfonso?
yeah, Alfonso, which is grown I think only in Maharashtra.
Mangoes?
Those are the best mangoes. They taste like sweet sunshine.
I would love to try them.
If I know that it's actually harder to get in Canada than it is to get in the US for some odd reason, although I know a person who knows a person and they have Alfonso mangoes. They usually are like July, August is when they're available because that's their season. But it's so good. So good. You can get like canned mango pulp of Alfonso mangoes specifically from like Indian brands, but
Wait, I'll look this up. What do Alfonso?
That outside of it looks like the inside. The sweet, beautiful color of the inside mango is on the outside of
yes. Yes, it's so good. And
I don't know.
and like for me when I came here and I was exposed to like mango drinks usually diluted with other fruits or other stuff, I just looked at it and I was like, what the this is not mangoes. But I've been told that I might be a bit of a mango snob, so it's just one of those. Okay, I'll just let that one go. But when my spouse and I had an opportunity to go visit my family and we actually got to have some, that's when my spouse was like, "Oh, I actually do like mangoes now. These are good." But also yeah, we should perhaps talk about names a little bit.
Names.
Yes,
Name.
names.
What is it?
what's in a name.
Ah, dang it! I said that.
Yeah.
Do it.
Had to be done.
I feel like we could let Nala take the wheel since
Yes.
you've already posted a huge ass thread about the complication of name. If you want.
I wrote a
Yes.
big thread under the tag. Oh god, what was it? I think it's what my name means. I think was the tag, and not many people joined in, so you can probably find my thread if you look it up. But yeah, it's hashtag what my name means, and I wrote. It's basically like a mini essay about my name. It's basically actually a rehashing of my college essay because that's what I wrote about for my college essay was my 4 names. At this point, I guess now 5 names. But yeah, I guess I don't know. What do you want to know?
So probably a good focus is to think about how we come to terms with our given birth names and whether we reclaim them or reject them and pick a different name as you come into your own like identities.
So I guess I would try and do this as fast as possible. But so I was adopted from China, and so I had a lot of names, and the first one I wrote, I don't even know what it was. I don't even know if my birth mother gave me a name. But whatever that name was, I'm never gonna remember that. And how I wrote it was very flowy and poetic, but I was like, that name left me when she left me. And then I was taken to an orphanage, and they gave me a new name, which is Guo Yu Tao. my pronunciation is terrible. My Mandarin's terrible, and I'm
No
sad
worries,
about
you're
that.
Yeah.
But anyway, guo in Chinese means country, and every single child at this orphanage had that as their last name. And then there's this whole bit about how, like, in China, you say the last name first because the family name is very, very important to our culture. And so that's why it comes first. And Yutao means jade peach. And so when I was like 12 online, I used Jade Peach as like my like screen name or whatever. Because I thought it was like kind of cool and like whatever.
Hell yeah, it's still cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But they named me that, and like according to my mom, she said that the nanny said that the reason they named me that is they're like, you're as rare as a jade and as precious as a peach, and so that's why they gave me that name. And then obviously when I was adopted, my parents gave me my birth name. My first name, my dead name, was Alana, which is a Hawaiian name because my mom grew up in Hawaii, and Alana means something about sunset or something. It's like a really pretty sort of invokes Hawaiian, whatever. And then my middle name was Juliette, which was French because, like I said earlier, my dad is like horny for the French or something. I don't know. But yeah, so I was Alana Juliette. And then when I was, and I spoke about this a little bit to you in the interview I did for Palette, but I was on Instagram and I needed a new name because my screen name at that point was Alex Rashid. I don't know why, but that's the name I was going by online. And I started posting my art under that name, and I was kind of like, I want a name that's not that name, that's closer to my name. But my parents were like, don't put your real name online. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take Alana, turn it backwards, take off the first A, and I get Nala, right? And I was like, this is so cool, really stealthy. And I was like going into freshman year, or this was like 8th grade around. And so I started going by Nala Draws online, and that was the birth of that. And I've had that ever since then. That's been my brand. And then by freshman year of high school, my friends were like, do you want us to call you Nala? Because that's what I was going by online. And my following was like going up there with numbers. And so everybody online was calling me Nala. And I was like, yeah, call me Nala. Which I eventually grew into it. And I was like, yeah, no, this is the name for me. I love it. High school went by, go to college. I realized I'm non-binary. And I'm like, great. I like Nala. Nala fits me, but why did I have to pick such a feminine name? I really like Disney, and so I was like, oh, Nala, like the Lion King, like that's really cool, like one of my favorite Disney movies, great character, A+, and Nala means successful. And I was like, I want that. I had still have a lot of passion, and I want to succeed and do well and whatever. So I was like, this is a good name for me. It fits, it fits me. Because you think of Nala, you think of the Lion King, you think of, at least like I think of like that sun, the shot of the sun setting, and it's big and it's orange and
like your background.
Yeah, like my background. Yeah, that's become like the halo and the sun has become a big like motif in my artwork. My logo is a sun. It's on here actually. It's my logo right here. Ooh, professional. And I lost my train of thought. What the heck? I have ADHD.
Nala going into J?
Oh yeah, so I was like, why'd I stick myself with such a feminine name? I hate this. Because on paper, Nala Juliet looks very feminine. And I was like, I want to make people confused. Like that's not what it was, but I was like, maybe if I can confuse them on paper by changing my middle name to like a masculine name or an androgynous name, maybe that'll help me read as not immediately woman on paper. So I was trying to think about like what I wanted to name myself. This was like last summer. I was trying to decide like what should my new middle name be. I really liked my signature. This is weird. I liked how my signature looks. I have a big J in it. And I was like, okay, so I have to keep it as a J. And so I was stuck between like Julian, which I really liked, and it was very similar to Juliet. But like a bunch of my friends from high school were all dating or had dated somebody named Julian, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. So then I looked back to my Chinese name Jade, and I was like, I can be Jaden because I really like Jaden Smith. and,
Oh yeah.
and I was like, all right, that's it. And then I was kind of like ditching around on the spelling because I didn't know how to spell it. I didn't want to steal Jaden's spelling, Jaden. I didn't want to steal his, and so I was like, okay, what are the other ways I can spell this? Sorry, one sec. Hello?
Fun fact: Jaden, Aiden, Caden. If we all acknowledge that those are very trans and non-binary friendly names.
Oh, they are.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, my brother was screaming,
Agree.
but I thought he was mad at me, but he's just playing a video game, so never mind.
That tracks.
But yeah, so Jaden, and so I ended up going Jaedyn because it was it looks androgynous. It's pretty because there's a Y in it, which for someone who really likes signatures, it's really pretty to have a Y because you can do a lot with that letter, like just visually. And it also looks kind of fantasy-y, and I like that vibe. That's it.
I mean, that's
That's all.
that's definitely a way to go as well, and it's like it's your journey.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, and I really want to change my name before I graduate college because I don't want my dead name on my diploma. But I don't know if I can do that.
That's a feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeet. My thread says it a lot more eloquently than that, but yeah.
Oh, that was wonderful.
Thank you.
There's a lot of layers to that. And, like,
There is a lot, and there's a lot, like, I was trying to go through it as quickly as possible because there's a lot of, like, emotional bullshit, like, layered in there, and
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
gotta love it.
I mean, I can kind of pull from a lot of that. Similarly, adopted, I went through foster care. So I went through a lot of different families. And my biological, like my natural name is Bianca, but nobody's ever actually called me Bianca. It was always a variation of. And then I think when I was 16, I was going through the process of my emancipation, and I also had to. I never actually had real identification at the time, so I was also re-signing some papers to validate that I was in fact a real human being, and I had the option to choose a middle name. I had never had a middle name up until that point. I had had a couple of, like, I would take on a couple of last names of the families I've lived with. I've got a couple of, like, foreign last names. Long story. But anywho, so I remember signing the paper and thinking, like, this is my chance to rebrand. Like, I can pick my own middle name. That's a lot of power. But, like, I was also 16, and the two things I loved most at that time was Star Wars and Legend of Zelda. So I had genuinely considered making my middle name Skywalker. I'm grateful to this day I didn't. It wouldn't have, Zelda's, it's like...
So there's an alternate timeline somewhere where B is middle name. Skywalker.
Yeah, and they're living their best life. Because that can be a great name, you know? Goodness, but that was a really big deal because then I wanted to be known as Zelda for a long time, but it didn't quite sit as comfortably as I wanted it to. So then I moved out of my hometown, gone off to university, and then I tried out Bianca again. Everybody knew me as Bianca. No more nicknames. I'm an adult now. Oh, and then I hated it. My name means white and pure. And that just sucks. Like, there's nothing that I can relate with that. So only recently has the conversation come up with myself again about a name change. And I'm so far comfortable with B. It's simple, it's neutral. I like it. I think bumblebees are cute, so you can't go wrong. But, like, I don't know how long I'm supposed to sit with it before I feel like it is. And it's a lot to consider.
Yeah. For me,
Shout out to the bee for being a cute, sweet, awesome, non-binary mascot as well.
yeah.
Right?
So perfect.
Bees are awesome. They're the
Yeah.
mascot of my college, actually.
Ah,
Yeah.
love that.
Scad bees.
Miriam.
Good stuff.
Oh, yeah, so with my name, it's one of those things that I'm only thinking about it recently, and even then, it's such a hard thing for me to reconcile with because I fought for almost like 35, 36 years to have my name the way it is right now because there's this thing in the bi, whether you want it or not, where you're, regardless of whether you have a middle name or not, which I don't, um, they put your father's name or your grandfather's name in the middle of your name. So I had to deal, like, I had to pay like almost double or triple whatever fees I had for applying to colleges abroad because I would fill the application form with my passport and legal and everything name, which is my two names, Mariam Ahmed. And then they'd be like, oh, we didn't get your transcripts. What do you mean? I sent it. Yeah, but it's not in your name. I'm like, what do you mean it's not in my name? It should be in my name. It's like, no, it's Mariam, my dad's name, and my last name. I was like, yeah, I can't do anything about that because the university refuses to remove it. And then when I got married, there was this, I literally legit cried, and not happy cried, when a lot of the checks that were given to us were written with my name and my husband's last name, or Mrs. my husband's full name. Because at the wedding, I was very clear with the vows and everything that my name stayed the same name. So it was my husband's full name, then my full name. In fact, I made my name first just to be even more stubborn in every single wedding thing of like, you're coming to see the wedding of my full name and my husband's full name.
Hell yeah.
I'm the one who designed the invite, so I get to have a say.
My wedding.
And then the other reason why I've been so such a stickler for my name is that to do immigration, it's a pain and a half if your name changes in the middle of the application. So it's just easier for me, and especially to show, hey, I worked here, I have this thing, I have all these things that, hey, I'm the same person. Even when I got married, I'm still the same person. Like, hello, I'm this person, first name, last name. There's no changes here. No, siree. But now that all of that is over, and the fact that it was somewhat easy for me to change on my documents to be not female, I've been thinking about a name change, but the thing is that I don't know who I'd be if I'm not Miriam. And that's been, I think, where I'm left at. Where I fought for 36 years to have my name just be my name and my last name. Where do I go from there?
That is a move.
Right? Not an easy choice to make no matter what your circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
How about you two?
Gemma, are you thinking? Or should I go?
Well, I'm pretty much similar to like Mariam's experience. It's only recently I was just like, name change. Cuz it actually took me a while to love my name. I mean, and it was just stupid. It was like a stupid reason too. It's just like no one could pronounce it right when I was growing up. My name is Gemma and it's spelled Gemma. And you know, I'm a reading nerd, so I thought it made perfect sense to see the gem part and then you just add the extra M and an A and it's like voila. But apparently a lot of teachers were just like they see it like and then they see it as like the way people would read golf and they go Gemma and people would just I mean, I know it's kind of very superficial, but I hated that because I just wanted there was that part of me that was just like why can't I be like the Karens and the
You do not want to be a Karen.
Yeah, I
Sorry
know.
for anyone who's a Karen.
Okay, but
Sarah, Emily.
Yeah.
I have a question for that.
Okay.
Was it the first day of school roll call that they would mispronounce it, or was it they looked at you and mispronounced it?
It was a mix of both. Like they would look at the roster, and then once the name in between, they would still like give that look, and I'm like, you could just read it as is. It's not that unique a name, I guess. But now when growing up, now I'm like, oh, my name's fucking awesome. I love it. But the past I guess the past year it's kind of gone through my brain of like, I wonder if there's a better name that suits me. I want something more like, as much as I love Gemma, and as Mariam was saying, like that's my, I feel that is my life. I was born with that name. I was raised on it. I like, that's my identity, whether that's part of my identity, whether for good or ill, for the last like 30 plus years of my life. So it's just how does that change even begin, and what name could I choose that encompasses like who I am now? And I'm picky as fuck. Like, I'm so indecisive. Like, choosing a name, I can't. There are cool names out there, or there's names where I'm like, oh, I resonate with that, but to be like, yes, that is I. The closest I have is like, so my middle name is Cecil, but it's like, you can always like work around the pronunciation, have it Cecil, and or like, have the more masculine pronunciations. I mean, since that is also part of my name, I was thinking of that, but it's right now it's just like this strong idea in my head, but it's just daunting to even like take that first step, or even consider how to even go about it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, for me, the wedding, the whole thing that made me cry, it wasn't. I don't think I was bothered so much about people, despite me very clearly saying, this is my name, this is what it is after marriage and everything, and completely ignoring it. It was everyone else at the time who was telling me, oh, you just gotta put up with it, or oh, you're basically saying I was the one being oversensitive for feeling horrible about it, because that's just, you just have to put up with it, that's how it is. And it's like, yeah, but you don't understand this, especially on things like checks and things, where it's like, I can't cash this, I have to have Carl cash it and then put it into our joint account. Do you know how that makes me feel?
It's very akin to, back when, gosh, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there was a time when, like the 50s, before women could vote, they couldn't open up their own bank accounts. So like, if ever they received money, they would have to give it to their husband to put into their bank accounts. That lack of agency.
Yeah.
It's just there. It's gross.
Yeah, and like, my husband's great and it's not a problem, but it's just one of those things where it's that feeling, it's just awful. Hey, Jess.
Not fun. What's up?
Sup?
Sup? You have something to say?
Names, man. Yeah. It was an army brat, so my dad went to the army, got stationed in Korea, fell in love with my mom, and they came back. When my mom immigrated here, she took an English name, and so she was still learning English, and the best way to learn English is to watch a lot of shows. And she really liked Murder, She Wrote. She thought it was a very good show. So she took Angela for Angela Lansbury, and then she named me Jessica for Jessica Fletcher, the character.
Iconic.
Yeah, I actually still really love the show, and I love Jessica, the character. I grew up not understanding that because I didn't watch it as a kid, but I definitely grew up where Jessica was the top female name of the year, so there was always another Jessica, if not 5 other Jessicas in the class, so I hated that. My family always shortened it to Jessie, and I super hate it. Have always hated it, don't like it, never ever. But Jess was fine. I think I tried to go by Jessica, but when kids or people just say that really fast, it comes out as Jessica, and I don't know. It wasn't me, and that's a different name too. So Jess is what I settle with now, but it has never resonated with me, and I don't like it. But picking a name, like Gemma said, is hard. For me, it's hard for 2 reasons. Also, yeah, thanks for the follow.
Yeah, thank you.
Picking a name is like one hard for like you need to figure out a name that resonates with you as an entity and an existence and something that is comfortable for you. And then on the other flip side, it's permanent and it's coming out all over again for however many times you have to come out to your close people. And then, I'm like, we're just now touching into the pronouns getting it right situation. I'm not ready for the get my name right situation just
Oh my god, I didn't even think of that, and I'm like, oh, that is so true.
Yeah, same. I did not even think of that.
Yeah. Getting my mom to start calling me Nala, like getting my immediate family to start calling me Nala throughout high school was such a struggle. And like I didn't even know I was trans at that point. But like I would talk about it with my friends and I'm like, it's kind of like I'm trans but I'm not. But like yeah, that was so hard. Like it took them forever and I got so much pushback from my parents and from like my entire family, and sometimes like my dead name will just slip out occasionally. My grandparents still forget. I'm still not out to them as trans because like they've said homophobic things in the past and I don't even want to chance it at this point. And like I don't know, they're very old and I'm just like I don't want to fight with them until they die. So I'm just not going to be out to them.
I'm sorry, that's a harsh reality that a lot of folks face.
Ayo.
Does not make it any easier.
Yeah.
So for now, it's me staring at a lot of baby name websites, and I found a really cool Korean name website because I would like to. I really appreciate Korean as a language.
So
and
just
I
a
like
very
the
quick
names.
off the table hosted us, so thank you so much.
Thank you for the host.
Summer! I love summer. Sorry,
but
continue.
yeah, no, you're good. The name thing is rough, so I constantly pour over names. What sounds nice? I have favorite letters. Like I really like K as a letter, like Z's.
I love
like
Z's and X's. I don't know why.
X's are so good. I have 2 characters with X names.
Zenobia was one of my favorite names. There was someone I knew that actually had that name.
That's a sexy name.
With a Z, but I want a character with an X instead of a Z for Zenobia. That's a good
I really liked Alex with an I, and I like Xander, like shortening Alexander or Alexandria.
How do you spell Alex with an I?
ALIX.
Oh.
It's okay. It's
I went in
almost
the
close to
beginning.
midnight for
I
for
was
some
like,
of us.
ILEX?
Yep, that's the one.
AIEX? I was like, what letter becomes an I? Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, Robin brings up a point. Kingdom Hearts ruined names with X's for me.
Let's not talk
This
about
What's
is-
that about?
That's a thing, yeah.
Or just text me if we don't want to discuss it on
The
stream.
Kingdom Hearts conversation.
Okay.
Zemnis.
I've never played that game.
Neither
It's
have
okay.
Don't.
It's okay.
because
Ooh, we had a couple of
Boxes.
other notifications that I did not catch because they went by too fast for me. But thank you. Thank you for whoever did stuff.
Oh, thank you for
The other
following.
Tracy, thank you.
Yes,
Other
thank
Tracy,
you.
Sweet other non-binary B.
Yeah.
We mentioned pronouns. We want to
Yes.
talk pronouns.
Oh boy.
Mm.
It's just such
Ah.
an umbrella conversation. Like, I don't even know where do we start. Has anybody received respect? What's everybody's like? What is your family situation like? What are your friends like?
I'm Schrodinger's queer at the moment.
So,
Oh.
so first off,
yeah, that's
you
the
can
answer
be
there.
non-binary and use any freaking
Yeah.
pronoun that you
For
want.
sure.
Yes.
Okay? And non-binary doesn't mean being androgynous. We're just gonna keep
Say that.
hitting that home.
Yeah.
Just keep on smacking until
Yep.
Yeah.
Once again,
Yes,
being
people,
non-binary
listen to
or
us.
Androgynous ain't gonna happen.
I was also
Yeah.
gonna say that even though non-binary people can use any pronouns, so can the other genders on the spectrum. You can
Your
identify.
gender identity does not link with your pronouns, which is a hard thing to grasp when you live in a binary society. But
it,
use whatever pronouns you like.
yeah.
You can be cis masculine person and use she, her, and otherwise, or use fey, fair, or use your name as your pronouns, i.e., I guess that means you don't have pronouns?
Yep.
Yeah, so,
Yep, just like the
My
third.
name is my pronoun. Done.
yeah.
Don't shorten my existence.
Fair. Yeah, that's such a good explanation for it too.
Yeah, that was a lot more eloquent than me
Yeah,
this
right.
hour.
I like it.
I'm just gonna keep sipping this mango Sprite.
Valid.
I'm just gonna
Make
keep.
Sprite, man. That's Sprite with a good fruit juice.
Oh, yeah.
Cannot drink Sprite.
I don't like carbonated.
That's why I have it
beverages.
with mango. That's why I have it in mango juice.
Gotta get that mango fix.
Just gotta. Yeah.
You need a mango. Sorry,
We're back
Joelle.
on mangoes.
That Alfonso mango.
That's the one. Thank you.
Unfortunately, I couldn't find Alfonso mango, so this is some mango, but it's Sprite and it's all.
Some mango. It's some mango.
It's
juice,
some
but they put
mango.
little paw.
I think the carton says best mango, so I was like, fine, you'll do.
Yeah.
According to who?
According to the
Who makes that
manufacturer, I
call?
guess.
Oh, dear.
So I think as it stands, the five of us are comfortable and publicly use they them pronouns. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeet.
it's probably been a very different journey for all of us to get to that point.
If you'd
Where we
like,
wanna
I
start?
could talk.
Yeah,
no,
go
I
ahead.
can go.
Yeah.
So as I said earlier, I didn't come out till college, and the only reason that happened is because a bunch of my close friends, or like people that I met in my first year of college, a bunch of them were all non-binary, and they all use they them. And as I was like around them using they them pronouns for them, because I only had one friend in high school who used they them, but like being around these other people and seeing like all like different kinds of people who use they them pronouns, I was just kind of like, maybe that fits. And so one day I just asked them, I was like, hey, can we try this out? Can you try using they them for me? And they're all like, hell yeah, join the club. And then they started using they them, and it just felt so much better. And I was like, yup, this is it. And then that winter I came home and actually, I don't know what the timeline is on this, but at some point, I started seeing a gender therapist that my mom took me to. For those people in Massachusetts, there's this awesome program at the Boston Children's Hospital called GEMS, GEMS, stands for Gender Something Management Something Services, maybe. I don't know. GE might be gender. I don't know. Anyway,
Gender.
endocrinology. I don't know. Anyways, amazing program. They got me set up with all of my like stuff, and then now I'm on hormone replacement therapy, which is cool. And I went through them to get that, so that's how that happened. Um, but anyway, so I started seeing a gender therapist, and I sort of like it was like a 2-hour appointment, and she just asked me all these questions about my life, and every single moment that I told her about, she was able to tell me how, like, basically validated it all. And I realized that I've been trans my entire life, and that all of these little things that happened to me, and things that I thought, and things that I did and wanted, and experiences that I had, like, it just everything clicked into place that day. And I was like, wow, I am trans. I'm not faking it. I'm not like questioning it anymore. Like, this is who I am. And it's been like that my entire life. And I just couldn't see it until now. And so that was like very validating for me. But then like getting my mom and everyone else to use the pronouns, because I came out to my mom, I think that like that October, I think, like freshman fall in October, I came out to my family pretty quickly. And then that winter I came home and I told like that winter, I told everyone. I was out on Facebook by that winter. So for me, it was pretty fast because I had a very strong support system. My family was supportive generally. Like, it was really hard that first summer home because they misgendered me so much. Um, and it was just a lot of like the typical cis people centering themselves, where they're like, it's so hard for me. I've known you as my daughter your entire life, and so you're just gonna have to bear with me. My generation's different from yours, and when there's I never met anybody like this. And then we got the, oh, they them is a plural thing, and you are one person, so
Fuck
therefore
you.
it's grammatically incorrect. And I'm just like, Shakespeare used they them as a singular pronoun, so
Webster Dictionary acknowledges
yeah.
the word of the year last year. Fuck you.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. But it was quite the journey. But my family's getting there. There's been like some weird things that are just like, it's hard. And I get misgendered a lot, and that's something that I think other trans people, like binary trans people, don't really have to think about it as much, because when binary trans people like pass, like, I really hate the idea of passing, but like once they pass, there's a way that binary trans people can get to the point where they stop being misgendered because they are seen as the gender they are. With non-binary people, we're gonna be like, at least in my thing, like, I'm gonna be misgendered for the rest of my fucking life, and it sucks. And I'm gonna have to spend the rest of my life explaining my identity and having to validate myself for people, because we live in a binary society, and people like me, people like us, we're not supposed to exist, and that really fucking sucks. And it's something that I've slowly been coming to terms with. Like, every single time I have that conversation with somebody where I'm talking about, oh, here's what gender fluid means, here's what being non-binary means. Yes, they them is a valid pronoun. Shut up. I realize that's going to be the rest of my life, and it really sucks sometimes. But I wouldn't change it for anything. I like being non-binary, so ayo. That's my story.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, it's just one of those giving it the gravitas and just like thinking about it. It's yeah. It's hard to, or rather it's something to come to terms with, that there are people who are more interested in being right than being considerate.
Yup.
Oof. Oof. Oof.
That truth.
But so true.
Yeah.
I'm just catching up with the chat. No
Yeah.
pronouns. You're not allowed to refer to me. Keep my essence out your mouth.
Oh.
Wow. So,
I think, yeah, it's tough. It's uncomfy feelings to have to constantly present and say, hey, I use they pronouns, and people will mess it up, and people are going to make excuses and center themselves around it and their uncomfortable feelings. But I think of it this way, where we're already progressed further into this open-mindedness than we were 5 years ago, than we were 10 years ago. And if we do this now as individuals, we're laying the groundwork for the next generation of babby queers and new queers coming forth to be like, this resonates. We're going to normalize this. We're going to make this happen.
we're doing
Do it for the babby queers.
Yes, we're doing it so that the next gen doesn't have to go through it as much, or doesn't have to discover all of this in their 20s and 30s, but when they feel it. And
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is making sure that there are tools for parents to actually support their children. Because I'm pretty sure I'm never going to get it from mine. Even if they're well-meaning, even if it's not like the hatred and bigotry, but just simple ignorance and unable to understand how to do it.
Or
Like,
even an unwillingness. I know
Yeah.
for me, culturally, my parents are just going to be like, well, that's not how the world works. That's not how my world works. And you don't know better than I do. I am wiser and older, and I don't accept this.
Yeah. I just remembered how, like, every single one of my professors at school misgenders me, even though I tell them my pronouns before class. I correct them in class. They're in my email signature, and yet they always forget, I guess. I don't know. It's exhausting.
It really is. I don't even, like, you have so much more energies and, to be able to do that. I think we have a question in chat. though.
Oh, it's Summer!
Yeah,
So-
so Summer is asking if how we feel about people who use they as a default when they're talking to individuals until the pronouns are presented.
I do that.
Yeah,
I do that as
too.
well.
Because
Yeah.
I'd
As
rather
well?
someone presume they, them, and then if someone is like, no, my pronouns are she, her, and she's end up being a cis woman, it's like, cool, thanks, like now I know, and I'll keep using that. But it's bad to assume people's genders, like without knowing, I guess. Like that's
Yeah.
just how I learned it originally, and how I tell, like, if I was explaining to young people, I'm like, you never know what someone's gender is, so using gender neutral until they tell you is good practice. And it's something that, like, I need to, like, get better at when I'm telling a story about a random person I saw, to use they, them for that person. Because, I don't know.
Yeah, and especially when the only information you're given without being able to easily access their pronouns is a name, and you can't
Right.
assume from the name, especially
Or what they look like.
Or
Like,
what
even
they
if
look
don't have a
like.
name,
Yeah,
just
what
Yeah.
appearance.
their dress, what they're wearing, like that
Yeah.
that can't apply to.
it's
So
it's been a lot easier for me to nowadays say the person or that person or whatever than saying like guy, girl, boy, girl, or whatever. But
Yeah.
that's taken practice. That's taken like
Yeah.
a year, like several
Switching
years
from
of
guys to
practice.
folks?
Yeah,
Years of practice.
yeah.
What'd you
It's
say?
practice.
From guys to folks?
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't like to say
Yeah.
hey guys anymore to be hey folks,
Yeah.
what's up folks? What are y'all
It's-
I say
doing?
y'all.
I
Yeah,
love you,
y'all. I love
Yeah.
y'all.
We're Canadian, Miriam, so it's even worse. for
Y'all
us to say
means
y'all.
all.
We're so far from where folks say y'all. So
I've been using y'all as a default because my first long-term gaming group were all women and some were from the south, so they used y'all a lot, so it was not difficult for me.
I picked up on it after 1 week with a group of people from Kentucky. prior to that, I was raised in Massachusetts, and I was like, I'm never gonna say y'all. That's such a Southern thing. And then I spent 1 week with people from Kentucky, and then I was added to my vocabulary.
Yeah, it felt weird to me, like when I first used y'all. Like,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
mouth
yeah.
was just like y'all. Like, I don't understand this from a
Y'all.
California born and raised person. I don't. But then now I'm just like, hey y'all, and I'm like, oh no.
I also use peeps because I to a certain extent it's kind of
Peeps is so cute.
It's like I'm calling you all marshmallows.
Oh,
Marshmallows.
Hey
Nice
peeps, what's up
marshmallows.
peeps?
It's definitely an active active thing for me to watch out. It's for me it's dudes. I am very much like, for me, I consider it neutral, but I know a lot of people don't. So to actively, for me, it's an active thing to not stop assuming that saying dude is okay for everyone, and just going, oh, hey folks, hey peeps, hey people, until
I
I
don't-
know they're comfortable with that.
Distinguished guests.
I love that. Please call me that. Or Your
I-
Highness.
Oh my god.
Go ahead, Mary.
I had a joke on Twitter at some point, and then like the end result of the joke was that I was gonna make shirts that say "Your Majesty is gender neutral," and I never made those shirts because I'm not a graphic designer. But I have a mock-up.
Hey, you and me, we should have a talk.
It will happen. It will happen at some point. Just
The only time I use "Hey guys" is when I'm making a bilingual joke. Because I think this has been said to a couple of people, so they know it. But "guy" means cow or cattle in Hindi. So it's like, I think there was an opportunity where we were going to this, like, in-game, going to some cattle. So I just walk up and was like, "Hey guys."
You truly appreciate it.
oh jeez.
I'm fond of humans. Just like, hello, humans.
Brethren.
I'm also a server.
That's still
So
gendered, though. Brethren.
Humans?
No, brethren.
Oh,
Brethren?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because it's from brother.
Really? Oh.
Yep.
I
So
love that.
fraternity and sorority, those are also gendered.
Oh yeah,
I just knew
knew
about those, yeah.
But wow, brethren.
Yep.
I can see it now, like brother.
Yeah, now I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh,
Humans.
Humans.
and
Community, my commune.
humans. Yeah.
I think for
My
me,
beans.
a lot of I'm highly cognizant, not about like, oh, assuming gender and tying a pronoun to it, but in general, as we adapt our language to be more gender neutral, there's a tough conversation to have, and it's tied around how beautiful and adaptable AAV is, and how quickly the queer community and the white queer community, or just internet culture at large, is ready to appropriate that.
Oh
So
yeah.
things like fam and like just shortening grammar, and most people appropriate it incorrectly. It's tough because it's very quick to resonate, especially internet slang, but they
I
don't.
did a whole thread on this. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. How fast it happens too, and how ingrained in the culture, like internet meme culture, it becomes. And then people are like, "I'm not appropriating anything. It came from memes." And it's like, where do you think those memes came from? Like, think for just a moment, please.
So
Yeah.
on chat, Katie says, as a term of endearment, I started calling my friends my burrito, born from the fact that humans are burritos, but I can't get into it, or else I'll anger Jess.
Oh my gosh,
What?
that would be correct.
Hello?
Wait, what am I missing? What is this?
I'm hesitant, but I might link it in chat.
Okay.
But, Katie
I mean, only
started.
if you're comfortable. I don't know.
Oh, is
No,
it
no,
the
it's
whole
fine.
food thing from the previous?
Yeah, our
Okay.
Pop-Tarts dumplings.
Oh,
and
okay.
Oh,
yeah.
no, don't bring
conversation.
Please, I remember this.
Please.
God damn it.
You don't
Humans
boil
are
a Pop-Tart. You don't fry a Pop-Tart. It's not
Yeah.
a dumpling.
But it's filling
Yeah.
encased in dough.
Ravioli.
Huh. I mean, I
Ravioli.
Well, a ravioli is a type of dumpling, too.
No, ravioli is pasta.
It's more Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a dumpling. You boil it.
You don't put like pasta sauce on dumplings.
Well,
Dumplings
you can-
have by itself.
Yeah, but you can.
Put ravioli in soup? No.
You could. I
mean,
have
you
heard of
could.
ravioli soup.
Hell yeah, I'd be into that. Tomato soup with ravioli.
Tomato soup with ravioli.
With cheese ravioli. That's like a different take on grilled cheese and tomatoes
There
soup.
we go. Thank you for saving me from that.
Okay, but straying away from the whole food thing, we are also about 2 hours in.
Oh,
Do we
wow.
want to touch upon anything else, or shall we call it a
What
day?
have you talked about already? Because I know I got here late. Cat! Sorry.
Yes, the house panther has arrived.
I get excited. I've never had a cat or a pet or a dog. Nothing.
Yeah, stream. Oh, I should make some kitty and doggo commands for chat at some point.
Please.
The stream.
Sorry, but
The
yeah, what
stream.
have y'all talked about before I got on here?
Yeah, I believe we talked about the very weirdly, awkwardly question of when you non-binary.
Yeah, when did you realize you were binary, or how did you come
Oh,
to
yeah.
form that
That was
identity for
college
yourself?
for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then as well as issues around that, I had talked briefly about my dysphoria, especially in regards to body hair. Then we went into makeup.
Right, and that's
And-
right where I joined the
Yeah.
stream. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hair is weird. Like, I'm on T right now, and one of the like things that happens on T is that you get body hair. My arms previously had no hair on them, which I think was just an Asian thing. Cause like, yeah, and I remember like throughout middle school when all my friends started like growing hair on their arms, they're all always like, Nala, your arms are so smooth. And that was like a thing of pride for me. Having like hairless arms, I was like, I never have to shave my arms. This is great. I love being a woman. And then, you know, now I have hair on my arms and I'm just kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, it's not just my lower arms that are getting hair now. It's like my biceps and everything have hair on them now. And I'm just like, oh, and then my stomach has hair. Like, there's hair growing on my chest. It's one of the worst side effects. I'm like, stop growing on my body, grow on my face, and it will all be okay. Please. But yeah, the voice drop is something I'm really excited about, and I have videos of myself prior to starting T, and it has dropped, and I'm like, hell yeah. Yeah, because I sing a lot for, like, I loved musical theater, still do, I just haven't been in a show in forever, but like, I listen to like the same show tunes that I was singing along in high school, and I realize now that I can't hit some of these higher notes anymore. Or that I feel myself straining for these notes that I previously could just belt. Like, weird that this is like my benchmark, but Hamilton I used to listen to all the time, and I could sing like the Schuyler sisters, like all three of these female parts. I could sing all of them, like, not good because I'm an alto anyways. Like, I started out as an alto anyways, but like I could still hit those notes. Yeah, I could still hit those notes, but now I just like it's really hard, and but on the other side, I realized that my voice will go lower and I can hit some of these burr notes that I previously couldn't hit. And like I can sing all of Hamilton's parts now pretty much, which is exciting because I know that it's working. But it's really weird because a lot of trans people who are on T, who also sing, have said that it's like really hard because you have to like relearn how to sing once you like drop the octave. And so I'm kind of nervous because singing is a huge thing that I enjoy. Like, I've never been like terribly amazing at it, but I enjoy it and it's something that I love, and so I'm hoping that it doesn't kind of stir it up, but you know.
That's valid.
Yeah.
That literal transition for yourself in the outward presentation.
Yeah, and like I also see myself getting more muscular too. Like, my shoulders are getting broader. None of my clothes fit anymore, which sucks. One of the like long-term things that happens on T is that your weight is redistributed around to your body.
Yeah.
So that it's less like hourglass and more like rectangle or like Dorito Man, you know?
I had a certain.
Doritos.
Burrito man.
There's a Dorito Man.
Dorito. It's
There's the proportions of a fit mask presenting body
Yeah.
where you start
Oh.
working
It's the
out
shoulders and then the
build
waist is
till
very
you get
small.
the waist.
So as
Yeah.
kids, when we were teenagers, there was a similar sort of that fit mask like Hrithik Roshan when he started doing movies, and all of our friends said, because we just started biology like 10th or 11th grade, and it's like
Biology.
looks like a uterus, like you know.
Triangle shapes.
Oh man.
And especially when they do the flex muscles, it's like the
Yeah.
the sides where the ovaries would be.
like uterus.
Character designers love doing like the literal Dorito Man. Like as a person who's studying character designers, my professors are always on me about shape language. They're like, you want your character to be strong, you can give them broad shoulders and whatever, and like the shape language and all that stuff. It's really funny. They're
I
like,
think
"You
we've
wanna-"
got a really good question to end this
Yeah.
show on.
Yeah. Where are we at? I can't read.
So
Wow.
Summer asks, in this sphere that we all exist in, what are the ways in which us cis folks can best support and appreciate our non-binary friends? What are the ways in which you feel appreciated or seen? And the follow-up is, how can we better support, uplift, etc. in our day-to-day real life? Though in these times, everything is online. Yeah, super, super great question. Like, thank you.
I love that
asking.
question.
Summer's great. My girlfriend calls me handsome. It's really, really small, but when my girlfriend calls me handsome, it makes me really happy. And something like I also think is really cute, and apparently whenever I tell people this, they're like, "Oh, I've never heard of that." So we were trying to decide what she would call me because she was my girlfriend, and I'm like, okay. And she was like, "What do you want me to call you?" And so we were kind of like, okay, what are our options here? And I was like, well, there's date mate. And I was like, I mean, that's cute, but not for me. I kind of like, I don't know, I kind of hate how it rhymes, but that's just me. If you want to be called that, like, that's totally cool. But I was like, SO, significant other, partner. I was like, none of these really like fit, I guess, because like someone says like, oh, this is my partner, like I feel like that's a relationship that's been for a really long time, or like this is my significant other just sounds like to me is like very formal and like kind of weird. And so, and then she suggested joy friend, and she calls me joy friend, or her joy friend, and I had never heard of that before. And I was like, this is the cutest goddamn thing I've ever heard. So yeah, she calls me her joy friend because she's like, you make me happy. And I was like,
It's so good. So good.
But as far as just to answer this question real quick, like,
There's a lot of parts to the question. It's a great question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that absolutely
Yeah.
touches on ways. I mean, that's like your joy friend that kind of.
oh, when my friends who are cis correct other people on my pronouns for me so I don't have to do it, that's like, because
Yeah.
like I hate having to be like they
Yeah.
in like everything. But like I've been in situations where I'm talking to people like my friend group, we're all like talking to someone else and they use she her for me, and like 2 or 3 of my friends will all say at the same time they, and it just feels so good because like I'm like, they have my back, they will call it out for me so that I don't have to, and then that saves me that little bit of emotional labor, and that's really nice. Definitely check with your non-binary friend if they want you to be correcting on their pronouns, because sometimes they don't. But like my friends know that I appreciate when they do that, and so when they do that, it's so nice. Because yeah, it saves me from that little sort of awkward like, sorry, my pronouns are they them. And it's like, yeah, don't apologize, just say, you know, I use they them.
And I think the important thing also is, especially if you do mess up, like, don't make the apology about you and don't, like, call attention to the fact
Yeah.
most people, I can't speak for everyone, but most people from what I know just prefer being like, oh, hey, like, you use the wrong pronoun, you get corrected, just be like, oh, sorry, say the correct thing, and then pretend
Move
as if,
on.
move
Yeah,
on.
you don't
Move on. You correct yourself.
don't have to make it a big deal. Just go, I'm sorry. Say them. Moving forward. Let's let's chat, whatever we were doing.
Yeah,
So every time they start saying sorry, and then they make it about themselves, and then I'm supposed to feel bad that you misgendered me, doesn't make any sense.
and I'm
Yeah.
supposed to forgive you and be like, no, it's okay, it's okay.
Yeah. I understand. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Because what if I end up like? There's also this weird thing of like, what if I'm like, no, that's not okay. Suddenly, I'm the bad person.
Like, I'm trying, I'm trying my best.
I think
You have to be patient.
for cis folks who want to help, just help normalize it. Help use
pronouns in your bio.
Like what we were talking about. Yeah, start putting your pronouns in the bio, in your bios. When you start calling when you're talking about someone you don't really know like their gender just based on like the third person, or you're talking about a previous experience, use they them, like normalize it. Just get it into that. And of course, as Jay said, of course, if you do have non-binary friends, like if your non-binary friend accepts it, please, protect them, protect them from that emotional labor of like correcting someone on their pronouns. But I feel like these are just little things, but for non-binary folks, it means so much. It really does. In my work, the place where I work in now, I put no one puts their pronouns in their bios, but I did for my signature. I put they them. My coworker noticed, they kind of took me to the side and they were like, oh, so I noticed that you put your pronouns, so you use they them, and I'm like, yeah, and she was like, cool. And then like from there on out, throughout work, even though it's not like, no one makes it a big deal, but I can hear in conversations that they use they them for me, and it wasn't an announcement, it wasn't something big, it was just like you see it, they get it, and people use it. So
Warms my heart a lot to hear folks who aren't necessarily talking to you still respect your pronouns when you're talking about you to other folks.
For sure.
Similarly, I am a big fan, like what small things that I find supportive are using gender neutral terms. Like I tolerate hey girl. I tolerate it because I can't seem to erase that. Like, I don't think there's any escaping it. But when people will find an alternative way to greet me, it makes my entire day, because I'm incredibly sick of hey girl, what's up gal, just all of those just like feminine ways to greet somebody, and I don't like them. So, and when anybody, like whenever they find like distinguished guests is another fantastic way to approach, instead of ladies and gentlemen. And I love that.
Honored guests. Anything.
Yes.
Yeah, works.
Yeah, your majesty, your highness.
Yeah.
Instead of saying yes queen, call me your highness, please.
I keep on tell my like Instagram friends, please stop commenting "Yas Queen" on my stuff. Not only is that AAVE, and you are most definitely not black, I'm not a girl, and I don't like being called queen. Please.
I've also heard of ladies and gentle dems.
I love gentle them so much.
I've heard thadies too.
Yeah, ladies.
Ladies and gentle thems is what I've heard. So.
Now I'm thinking of the Hamilton song. They're going, hey, ladies. That's great.
I think it's all a work in progress. So there really is there's no textbook to hand people. And I think the biggest thing for me is not looking for a whole lot of concrete performative, hey, like we don't have to, I'm fine either way. I'd appreciate, email signatures with pronouns being normalized. It does make me a smidge uncomfortable if there's a pronoun circle with the introductions, and I don't know.
Thanks for the raid.
Thanks for the raid.
Oh no, yeah. Thank you.
Hello.
Welcome.
Welcome. We're close to finishing up, but thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we're just talking on how cis people can help
Just
be
in
better allies and make non-binary people feel comfortable.
Mhm.
The biggest thing for me is continue to dedicate your time to unlearning the binary
Yeah.
in
Mm.
terms
Destroy
of how
it.
you're
Kill it.
right.
Yeah.
Set it on fire. Throw it in the
Smash
trash
it.
can
It
and
into
step
space.
on it.
Like our first
Put it out for
question.
trash day on Wednesday.
Or whatever day is trash
Yeah,
day.
or whatever day is trash day. I've never grown up in a house that has trash day. We have to take it to the dump ourselves.
I've been in apartment living, so yeah, that's pretty much my experience too. But it's similar to our first question of how did you know that you wanted to smash the binary?
Yeah. So there's that external validation of like the good kind of performance where you're like, okay, normalizing presenting my pronouns and unlearning gendered references and coming up with more creative language to do better. But there's very much an internalized thing, right? It's cool that people will respect my they them pronouns, but it doesn't matter to me if you at the end of the day are still internalizing and viewing me as female.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I wish cis people would stop thinking about like genitalia as like an end all be all of like the two options.
But what really is in
Yeah,
your
what's
pants?
in your pants?
What really is in there? But really,
My dick.
space,
Like,
some stars.
Mangoes.
there's a banana in there.
Alfonso
mango.
mango.
So Alfonso
Alfonso
mango.
mangoes. That's what I pack with.
Can you feel how
Babe, you
tender
wanna
they
see
are?
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Oh god, I hate it.
Thanks, I hate it.
Like the
Someone
sheer fact
asked-
that someone like Summer asks that question, you're already on the right path, right?
Yeah.
We just already appreciate your existence and just
Please
to
ask.
continue to just ask and have those conversations. Like don't
Listen
put
to
the onus on the person. If you're like, oh, in my brain I've been trained to think man or woman all the time, or femme or masc, and you're like, I don't know, when I look at you, are you passing? Like that unlearn that conversation in your head, right? And just open up the table to be like, what pronouns do you want to use, whether they're cis passing or not, right? Like just normalize unlearning the binary.
Yep.
And I guess to add on to that, this space, yes, it's definitely. I mean, we all definitely appreciate that question, but I think outside of this, try not to like put it on the non-binary person to teach it to you. Yes, if you have their like permission, like yes, you can ask questions on their experience or whatnot, but take the time to go online, read those discussions, read on what's making you curious and what'll get you to, as Jess said, yeah, untangling that binary and like smashing it in the face. So I think that's one thing you should like just be careful of.
I don't think anyone, and hopefully anyone in chat will do this, or any of us, but it is not an option. I will end you.
Damn, what? I thought that was like assumed, but I guess not.
What?
Oh, it as
As a gender neutral term.
Oh.
I don't even
I've
use
seen
it
some
on
people who prefer it.
oh truly.
well,
Yeah,
if
we-
it's if they
that.
prefer it,
Okay.
that's a different matter.
Yeah.
I would never default to it, but I know some trans people are reclaiming it for whatever reason. Like, I don't understand it. I find it like, like personally, I wouldn't want to use it because I find it dehumanizing, but some people are wanting to take that and reclaim it for themselves. And, who am I to judge what they want to do? But,
Mhm.
I would never default to that as an option. definitely, if someone asks for it, do it. But other than that,
Mm-hmm.
they them is a safe option.
Yeah. Ah, interesting. I perhaps will change my stance then, but for me personally, I will end you if you refer to me as it.
Valid.
Yeah.
Same here.
It's interesting. The other part of it when cis people want to know how to do better, and if you just start by opening up those conversations, part of it is just having conversational consent normalized, right? Sometimes we don't want to talk about our pronouns. Sometimes we don't want to have that educational conversation, no matter how friendly you are. So it's just
Yeah.
like, how do we frame the conversation in a way that makes it comfortable for someone to say yes or no to that
Yeah, like,
space?
hey, is this okay to talk about right now? I just have some questions or whatever. And like, if
Yeah,
not,
like,
it's
hey,
okay.
I'm genuinely curious about this. So if you have time or energy, I would love to have a conversation with you. And that's just a good practice to have with everyone.
Yeah. Let
Yeah,
people set their boundaries.
Yeah, I'm starting to ask friends as well. It's like, especially if I have like something to get off my chest, I'm like, do you have the spell slots right now for me to like talk to you about something? And then they'll let me know, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll talk to you whenever, and I'll do
Mhm.
that. So
Yeah. While I'm here, can I give a small PSA?
Sure.
Because I keep tweeting about it over and over and over again. And I always feel like I'm repeating myself. And I have this like really great infographic I keep posting, and I feel like I've posted it like 100 times at this point.
Okay,
But
I'll link it in chat. I know where you were going
oh,
with this.
okay, cool. NB, the word NB, ENBY, is a term that a lot of non-binary people use to describe themselves, and that's like completely fine for people to do. But the entire non-binary community should not be referred to as NBs because a lot of people find it infantilizing, myself included. And it like if you want to call yourself that, totally fine. If your friend says I want to be called that, call your friend that. But it just irks me when people are like calling all NBs like whatever this, and I'm
Mm,
just like, I feel like I can't interact with that just because of how uncomfortable I am, even though that is my community and that's like what I'm a part of. But yeah, I can't describe why it makes me uncomfortable. I think like I have a whole thing with being infantilized and I hate it, and
well,
that's just something I
that's
see it
and
with
that's enough.
Yeah.
You don't have
Yeah.
to explain
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
yeah.
It makes you
Um,
uncomfortable. That's
And then also the second part of this infographic is that shorthand, because like people are like, okay, if I can't use NB, ENBY, what else can I use? And the most other common one is using the letters N, B. And as far as I know, this is what I've been told by other activists in the online activist space is that NB, like the two letters, stands for non-black. And I know that there's like lots of people in the black community who are like, that's NB means non-black. So pick something else.
Yeah.
So the shorthand that I use is N, like capital N, capital B, and then an I for non-binary. I've also seen the letters NBY as well.
Hmm.
okay.
NBY. So that's just ENBY minus the E.
I'm
And
also
I've
seeing a lot of
seen-
NB, like a BEE.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
That's
I've seen
non-B.
Oh, that's no good.
I've seen also people
I'm
do
joking, by the way.
N-B or N.B to differentiate non-binary and non-black.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
The
But
capital N, capital B, and I? Small I?
what?
Sorry. I.
Good, Jen.
Okay, continue.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, so like there's a bunch of other options, and so that's just my infographic. I've posted it like so many times. But yeah, spread the word, because then I can stop posting it someday.
One day, this is news
Yeah,
to
definitely.
Me, so like I like to learn about this kind of stuff because there's a lot of layers to this kind of topic. It's not
Yeah.
as clear. It's not.
I'm
It's
kinda
never
like-
black and white.
I always feel like I'm skirting a line between like identity politics or whatever, but I'm just like, from all the people I've talked to, this seems to be general consensus, so this is pretty safe. And like, you know, I see a lot of like infighting in the community, and that's really frustrating and sad for me because like I hate drama, I hate petty drama, and I'm just like, Please get me out of here.
You framed it really well, though. There was kind of, you mentioned at the beginning, like, if this is what you prefer to be addressed as, that is for you, but do not
Right.
use it as an overgeneralization. I think
Yeah.
that should be an easy enough rule to follow.
Yeah,
It's
like,
not, it doesn't hurt anybody that way.
yeah.
Yeah.
And also, when in doubt, just say non-binary.
Honestly.
Because that's what we
When
are.
in doubt, type it out. Like just
Yeah, no, literally.
That rhymes.
Yeah. Ooh, there's a. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, shortenings in general, whether it's a name or an identity, like abbreviations are meant for people that are close to you. And I never want to assume closeness to someone, especially online, until it is reciprocated.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you for letting me get on that soapbox.
No, this is the space. It's unfiltered. And
Yeah.
somehow, in the unfiltered, we have some interesting conversations.
Burritos
I-
and
yeah,
Alfonso
burritos.
mangoes.
Yeah.
And
I
horny
agree.
trains.
Really appreciate this being a space because I have been in a lot of other spaces that don't feel safe like this does. And to sit on a panel with like 4 other queer, like non-binary people of color is amazing. And even just a year ago I would not have thought this was possible.
Right.
Joining Twitter has been simultaneously the best and worst decision I could have made for my career.
So fucking true.
Yeah. I'm already in deep. There's no escaping it now. So I'm just glad to have met people like y'all. So let me be real, white queer people are exhausting. So thank you all for existing.
Thank you for existing.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you for sharing your experiences,
Yeah.
like everybody. This was really wonderful. We definitely had a lot of moments of vulnerability, and that's not easy to do, especially with folks you might not be entirely familiar with. But
Yeah, I don't know who's here. Hello.
Right?
Wait, are you talking in this conference call or in the chat?
In the chat.
Oh, okay.
Live stream.
Because I was just like, okay.
I've never met any of you in my life.
I don't think I've actually talked to Jem or B before, but hello.
Actually, I just followed you because I've somehow missed you entirely in my entire existence.
It's
Um,
it's
Comment
actually
on
really
your art. So
yeah,
that's-
it's
Yeah.
really
They
easy.
came in like a fire.
Yeah, they did.
So
I
this
didn't
has
catch
been really nice, really restorative. I think we're good to do our outros. Yeah. We feel
Yeah.
Good.
yeah.
Yeet.
Yeah. And
That's your outro? Sorry.
Is that your
I think I promised in the chat I would do my hobo voice, so I guess that'll be part of my outro.
okay, go for it.
Yeah.
one
Oh,
over?
now? You want me to
Yeah.
go now?
Or do you
Yeah,
want to
it's
do
on
it
you.
last? Like
think
Are we
just before we?
last.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Last.
Saving it for last? Oh.
Yeah.
So
So then
do we-
we know they'll stick around for all of you all. You know?
the
Whoa.
the bravado with which that was said.
Oh, God.
Okay, so I think the best thing to do is to go around and we can do it in any order, say who we are, where you can find us, and stuff you're doing.
Well, I've been pinged in the Twitch, so I think I will go first.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Not quite working.
Turn it
but
back
it'll be
on.
fine. Yeah. My name is B. You can find me on Twitter as
Huh.
@B_Zelda.
The chat
Um,
disappeared too on my screen somehow. Anyways,
Really?
let's.
I think
Yeah.
that's a problem.
That's a you problem.
Oh, there it is. Now it showed up.
There we go.
I turned off a lot of commands. I was like, oh wait, now I need those back.
I'm a member of the Broadswords All Women Non-Binary D&D podcast. After a year, we're going to shift away from D&D because over that noise. I'm a professional GM with Magpie Games. If you ever want to sit at a virtual table with me, I like to run feminist horrors. That's kind of my bread and butter. So yeah, hope to see you eventually.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Don't look at me to do an outro. I'm trying to.
All right.
learn how to
I'll go
command-
next.
learn how to
Okay.
command
Oh, yeah,
commands.
that's right. Okay.
Yeah. I'll go next. So hi, I am Miriam. Use they them pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at media_junkie. I am one of the caretakers in this channel, and I am also the GM and the creator of the Musafirs. I am also a member of Prism Pals, and I do a game every alternate week on Wednesdays here on this channel, based in Serzamin, called Kahania.
Ooh.
Which means stories, because I call things a spade in different languages. So that's me. And also, this whole series, Unfiltered, was literally just our attempt to just get something on, very quick, spontaneous, to help us reach affiliate within a week, which hopefully by the end of the stream we should. But yeah, and hopefully we might continue these series, but maybe slightly more organized, but still the content will be very unfiltered, just a little more organized. And that's me.
I'm Gemma, but I usually go by Kupo or Kupo Knight around the interwebs. You can find me on Twitter at Kupo Knight, KUP0 KNIGHT. I am a baby Twitch affiliate. You can find me on Twitch at on my channel Kupo_Knight, where I hate it. I really do. But apparently some people have already thought of that name, so it's not as original as I thought.
Aw, man.
I play a lot of story-focused games. So if you're down and just want to chill and geek out about stuff, whether it's tabletop or video games, hang out with me there. I think a lot of my shows are pretty much either done or canceled, or it's like in the ether somewhere. So, but I'm always down to be a player in someone's table. Tabletops are amazing. But speaking of Bluebeard's Bride and feminist horror, released today is the session 0 of Powered by the Players little short campaign of Bluebeard's Bride. And I was one of the players on that, and that was my first time playing Bluebeard's Bride, and it's an amazing game if you like the spoopy feminist horror stuff. So go check it out at Powered by the Players podcast.
And GM by Morgan, who was here earlier in the show.
Yes, if you were here from the get-go, Morgan was here just chilling with us. And
JC, just chilling.
Yep, just chilling. And they're an amazing storyteller.
Yes, go follow them too. They were in the Kahania cast as well, so you can find them there.
And yeah, that's it for me. Thank you so much for letting me be in this space. You all are people I very much respect in the community, so I'm glad that I get to be a part of it.
Feelings. Gross. Okay, I'm gonna do my outro really quick so Nala can do the voice. But yes, hi, hello, I'm Jess. I go by Burst of Hope on all social medias. There's a bot that exists on Twitter, so Burst of Hope. O and of is actually a 0. It'll be the bane of my existence. I do things. I like to say I'm a professional fan person. I really like hyping up other people's things. I play on a lot of different channels on occasion. I think the only current thing I have going on is on WebDM's Twitch channel. I play a vampire hunter using the Dracula dossier and Night's Black Agents by Pelgrane Press. That happens on Saturday evenings at 5 p.m. Beyond that, follow me on Twitter. Keep following Huetopia. I'm just a background person trying to make things happen here. So thank you for existing.
You are an important background person.
You're amazing. You're lovely. We love you.
Is it time for the...
Oh God, you're all gonna be so disappointed. I know, I really did. I should not have mentioned it.
I'm ready.
It was
We're
my
ready.
ADHD that mentioned it. All right.
I'm ready.
Hello? Is anybody out there? Mr. Obama, please save me. I'm drowning.
Okay.
Holy shit, you
Someone
want
who hates being
Clip it!
Clip it!
Clip it!
for someone who hates being infantilized, that was I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
either,
use
like,
it. I am reclaiming.
I wasn't ready. I
was
think
not
I don't
ready.
know if that's going to be in
No
my
one is
nightmares or my campaign.
So, anyways, I'm a voice actor. Hire me for that voice specifically, because that's all I can do.
I might have you do
And the
the
narrator.
sound alerts for Huetopia.
Hell yeah.
Hello.
We just got a new follower.
Oh no!
Thank you for the raid.
Or sorry, the Wade.
It is clipped.
All right, you and me,
Oh,
we're gonna have a
no.
chat.
No.
Oh no!
All right. Well,
Or not,
Hi.
whatever.
I'm Jay or Nala. Either name's fine. I'm on Twitter at NalaWoo, which is NALAWU. And I'm Nala Draws literally anywhere else. I don't use any other name. I don't know why my Twitter name is NalaWoo, but we out here. What else do I do? I draw stuff. I'm an artist. Oh yeah, there we go. I draw stuff. I'm currently open for freelance work in the tabletop games or board games, card games, whatever. I also do concept art and world building sort of design, also for games or animation. I've worked on some animated stuff before. I do sensitivity reading and cultural consulting. If you look at the pinned thread on my Twitter, I have a list of things that I'm willing to talk about. You can also pay me to explain gender stuff or anything else that's on that list. And that's stuff that I do. I draw. We're on hiatus right now, but I'm on a queer Star Trek show. Our entire cast is queer. It's really great. It's
It's a
Star
great
Trek
cast.
Perseverance. Our Twitter, I really should know this. I think it's FCRD12. We're on hiatus right now because our contracts are being renegotiated. We're gonna get some more sponsors and stuff, so I'm really excited. But yeah, we're on hiatus right now. But once we come back, that's Monday nights for the queerest Star Trek show out there. And then I think that's all I do. I think that's all I
Yay.
do. I'm very tired right now.
We all do a lot. Thank you.
Oh,
for
I'm making
here.
a queer mafia game. There's that.
Heck yeah.
And that is in progress right now, and I'm excited about it.
I mean, if I
Because
could
it
quickly
de-gay
push
crimes the game.
gay crimes as
Yeah.
well. I'm working on designing a game, but the theme is more about black liberation. But you bet your
Ooh,
hot buns there's
that's
gonna be
cool.
gay crimes happening.
Hell yeah.
It's gonna be the second game I designed, which is kind of cool.
What's the first game?
Yeah, tell
I
us
mean,
about your
it's-
game.
Still, I'm technically still working on it, but we had like our first
Okay.
draft, so I count it as my first. It's called The Cloister. Victoria Rogers and I have worked on it. It's a combatless, powered by the apocalypse game.
Heck yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm excited for all of these things. And with that, nobody's awake at this hour to raid, so we are just going to end the stream. Thank
What do
you,
mean don't wanna
everybody.
read some like random dude bro gamer and like I don't know.
Well, I mean, there is MCDM, but honestly, I have feelings.
Mm.
I don't even know who that is. So
Um,
sorry.
Yeah.
Continue with your outro.
yeah, that's cool. This is Unfiltered. It's all good. We're all professionals here.
Oh yeah.
So
We are professional.
Oh.
I'm gonna just end on that now. All right, bye, y'all.
Bye.
Thanks to everybody
Be
for
safe. Make good choices.
yes,
Yeah.
for following, hosting, rating, all the stuff. Thank you so much. And now, hopefully,
Wear a
we're
mask.
affiliate.